That's it. Check it before you wreck it. Doesn't sound like it. I was gonna interview you tonight, but you didn't seem like you were in the mood. Ignore me.
This one's not plugged in.
No. We should go to the other one.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Stay tuned for the greatest fucking show ever.
I don't even really have a show. That's so encouraging. Touch it again.
Mics are hot.
Testing 1, 2.
2 minutes and 27 seconds till your minds are officially blown.
Are you gonna listen to the show? That's what I like to hear.
That was super loud for everybody.
I'm rolling my blunt. Joffrey, you're the man. Number 1. I need to put my lip gloss on.
There's only 3 people out there at the moment.
Fuck you.
15
There's
minutes
only
late.
3 I need.
20 minutes late.
I don't even need people besides these
Now
3.
you have 5 people.
Except for 5. I need you
The
5.
best 5 people
Best 5 people out
of all
there.
time. Identify yourselves as the coolest 5 people in the world.
Please do. These guys don't even know what cool
These
podcasts
5 people are about to get their mind blown.
Don't be
The
getting people too
The
excited.
most interesting podcast anyone has ever heard
Don't be
is
talking shit.
about to take place.
Listen,
6 people.
you don't even know about
And
podcasting. Wait, you think because you got 1,000 views, you think that you have more friends than me?
White devil. I hate people. So we're straight with a little crowd.
That's what's up, White Devil. Oh, Arizona grows. Let's go.
Where are we going?
We're going. We're going
To the greatest ever podcast town.
Funky Town. Whatever. You guys are all I need.
30 seconds.
Forever. 30 seconds. Don't be late.
Shattered a finger?
Ooh, Joffrey.
Joffrey, that sounds painful.
What did you do to your finger, Joffrey?
We're growing. We have 9 of the dopest people
Ooh, ooh,
who ever came to see a podcast.
ooh. You know what?
Shout out to the Future Cannabis Project people. You don't ever show them enough love.
You're right. And I do love you guys.
Future Cannabis Project, Channel 3.
Channel 3, bud.
Clock is up. Tell me when you're ready to go. This is what it happens every week, so you guys know. The clock is officially up, but JLo's not ready.
I'm super ready.
Oh, I'm super ready. You haven't even begun to roll your blunt.
Yeah, but we're going to roll it together, all 10 of us.
All right.
9.
You tell me when it's time.
Robert, Mr. Greenfingers, is it time? Is it time? Let's do this.
Yes, ma'am.
Please. Sorry. You want to be my electronic person? You want to be my sound person? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 52nd episode of The Treat Show. Okay, I want to say to the 14 people in the chat right now, You are where my heart lies. Okay, Joffrey was number 1 tonight. If you guys want to race for the next show, Joffrey's going to keep it tough, but I'm thinking I'll have to give away a clone or something the next show to the first person in, the next show. Good evening, everyone. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. What are you guys doing? The only thing that I want to do is keep it green. Get wild over here. I'm smoking the LA Kush. You know, this is from LA, obviously. But I've seen the LA Kush that they claim is from LA for the last 10 years. And this is the first time that I have successfully harvested and feel like we got the real cut back. So I'm pretty stoked to smoke it. You guys are joining me on the first toke of it. That's what I'm most excited about for St. Patrick's Day. Thank you so much. What are you guys smoking on, though? It's most important that I want to hear because I have apples and bananas up here and the LA Kush. The LA Kush, honestly, I don't know if you guys can see on the camera, but it came out a lot bigger than most Kushes. We don't run CO2, actually, and this is a pretty, sizable, I'm just saying, it's nice if you can still get a yield from certain strains like that and still have the flavor and all those goodies. Then the apples and bananas. See, this one's interesting to me because we were contemplating actually if we should have went a little bit longer. I'm sorry about the trim job too. I didn't trim this shit. Okay, let me clarify. Let me try to make it look a little bit better. Let me just take all this off. Yeah, that's not helping. This is a scissors situation. Sorry about that, guys. But this is the apples and bananas. And this one, I am not a huge fan of purple weed right now because there's just so many purple strains. And it's not that I don't like it. It's just, I like green weed. And the apples and bananas, it has that kind of deeper purple, but it's got an interesting taste. Instead of tasting anything grape or runcy, surprisingly, I think it's kind of funky. I think it's a little unique. You guys tell me what you think. How is the Future Cannabis Project doing tonight? Because I do feel like Jason is absolutely correct. I have not been giving enough love to the channels as a whole. I don't know. We've been having these rough ass weeks. I know Jason talked about it before and how it's getting more positive and we're making all these good changes, which is absolutely true. But there has also been just these obstacles that I can be real about that have just been shit show after shit show when it comes to small, simple tasks, small, simple things, sending out clones, cutting clones, all these things. And it seems like every disaster that could have possibly happened has happened over the last 4 weeks. I don't know if you guys ever have weeks like that, but I feel like I'm ready for this little moon shift or whatever needs to take place. You guys tell me how your week's going. Gerhardt, how are you doing? I hope you're feeling better. I hope things are going well for all of you guys. I feel like this is my perfect crowd because are you guys doing anything for St. Patrick's Day? Is anybody partying? Do people still do it? Do they still go out on this rowdy night? Is everybody wearing their green? All right. Well, I'm sorry that I'm rolling the blunt. Still, my apologies, but I'm glad that we could do it together. I'm smoking a banana backwood, which those who don't like blunts, period, would not enjoy this. But the banana, man, it's my new favorite jam. It's it's so subtle, but yet so tasty. It does not overpower the weed. Okay, I know that's what you guys are thinking, but it's not like that. It's like my new favorite breakfast. But it's going down right now, okay? Let's see. Just eating some cookies and smoking some midnight mass. I love it. That is fantastic. Arizona Grows, I was born in Arizona and I did move back a couple times in my life. One time when I actually moved out of my parents' house when I was 14, 15 in with my aunt, okay? And I went back to Arizona then. And then I remember going back to my aunt. You always see her in the chat, actually. Boomer's in here. You look out for her. She's got to live with me and take care of me too much in life, probably. But then I had to move back at 18. And I'm glad that Colorado, I came back to, I guess, like I was only in Arizona these bouts for like a year at a time, but the weed thing, it helped me coming back here a little bit earlier. But I also looked at buying my first MIP in Arizona in 2013 when they were switching over everything, because I think it'd be awesome to grow out there with like how dry it is. You get the sun, all these, like, it would be cool. It would be cool. It would be challenging as well, but I feel like, yeah. Do you ever see scorpions, down there? Because I got stung by a scorpion in Arizona, and I don't know how you feel Arizona grows, but I always wondered if like in the plants and shit or on like cloth pots and stuff, if you have to worry about that. Much worse than a spider mite, I feel like. Watch out for the tobacco bugs in the banana backwoods. Are you serious, Joffrey? What? Now I'm licking more bugs? Can't get enough bugs in my life. Driving me crazy. Phoenix in August is insane. Oh my God. Big Farm, you are so right. You just like sweating bullets. My birthday's on 7/10, and I remember the day I was born. It was 1990. Don't tell anybody, but it was 122 degrees the day I was born there, which honestly isn't crazy, but I feel one thing I will say though that a lot of people don't anticipate about Arizona is they have the most beautiful monsoons I have ever seen though. Hands down. Like their lightning storms, rainstorms, like you want to talk about crazy weather or the winter. I will freeze my ass off in Arizona when we go down there in the wintertime from here. We'll have all this snow and it will be like cold or whatever, but that dry desert cold, oh my goodness, get you in your bones. Let's see. I used to hunt scorpions with a black light so my dogs could go in the backyard. Oh my gosh, that's awful though. They are really thick there. It's like a real problem. I remember in my dad's house in Gilbert, Arizona, he lived in a nice neighborhood at one point in time, and there was like all this construction going on around there. And I remember you go into like any bathroom or anything and go to wash your hands or like wash your face or something, and there would be scorpions like on your towel or on the toilet paper. Or we'll talk about getting risky. Gotta be careful down there. Anyways, you guys tell me if you live in any weird states or countries or places and spaces that you gotta look for like weird shit, It's one thing to have a spider or something, but it's a whole different thing if you got like a snake in your bathroom or I don't know. Arizona did have a lot of shit like that. Rattlesnakes. Colorado does too, but Arizona, they just get into your house. Like compared to here, I feel like more often, I guess here, you guys tell me. I'm going to check out the chat up here a little bit. Let's see. Apples and bananas is freaking great, but I taste more pear than anything. Operation Annihilation. You are so freaking right. I would have never called out the pear flavor, honestly, but you have nailed it. It is not what you would think. But you tell me, Operation Annihilation, do you think it's a little like funky pear though, instead of like just like sweet like you think? I just think a lot of people, I have this strain for sale right now, and I just think a lot of people would actually like it. Like it's not one of my first picks either. We got this cut from Archive, which is like super cool, but I think that I don't know. You guys, if you guys are looking to run something like unique and just check something out, you just slide into the DMs and I will hook you up for watching the show on the price, just to see if you could get a taste for it. Yeah, and it's like resilient. I will say she's like super resilient, and it's not a strain that like, even though it pulls that weird color, and I'm probably gonna get bashed on for saying this, she's not prone to PM or anything like that. It's like, I was just like, all right. I think you could go a little bit longer though. That's one thing. I don't think you have to, but I think that if we would have added, we were running, this one came down at like, it was like 10 and a half weeks. If I'm being technical, it was like really like in the middle of like the 10 and a half week mark. And I think that we could have tried to push her like another like 2 weeks, honestly, but we probably would have had to watch the flush a little closer and see if that's going too far out. But I noticed that like there were certain like parts of the plant that I was like, damn, could this get more plump? These trichomes are almost there, but you guys tell me what you think though. Let's see. Disbanded. So good to see you. It's different. Yes. Flagstaff is nice. Driving out of the frying pan is so nice. Big Farm, you are so right. I was like born in Mesa, but I was more like when I was 3 at least. We lived in Pine, and that's up by Flagstaff. And like people don't realize, but Arizona gets snow up there, and like totally different vibe, and it's absolutely breathtaking. I loved it there. I don't know if I think it's changed that much, like except for the cops. Okay, except for the cops. I do know that if you're coming up there and you're driving around, you just be careful what you're up to because they got little sneaking hiding spots over there. Okay. I'm not going to tell you the story, but I'm just saying look out for it. It's a stinky pear. I love that you say that. Buddy. Kilowatt. It is just like my favorite name. Sorry, I wish I said it a lot faster there, but I was just like taking it all in. Okay, guys. Well, I don't want to disappoint anybody tonight, but I do not have a show exactly ready. I know that I say this often. Now I've got like 3 different PowerPoints that I'm working on trying to complete one of them for the show, but I was thinking that instead of like missing the show because I was so sad to miss last week I was like, let's talk about a couple things. So Spannabis. So it's like everybody's in Spain right now, right? I wish I was there. Kind of. But I think the thing is you guys tell me if you guys have ever been to Spannabis. I personally have placed in Spannabis, I feel like, and not been able to be there multiple times. And so I wanted to talk about tonight because we did on one of the recent shows is I was talking about being the head grower at Harmony Extracts. And when I say I was the head growers, this is weird, is I was overseeing both facilities and I was working directly with the staff, hiring, firing, all those things. But in running it, we were installing irrigation, switching them to my treat system, right? But I also oversaw another garden that had a head grower that was fantastic over there named Peter. Peter used to be the head trimming manager at Pink House back in the day. And so he had been in it for a long time. I think nowadays he's actually a plumber, but I want to properly credit him as well because he was running this other facility at Harmony Extracts and did a great job over there. And then Jeremy was the head extractor, still is the head extractor and part owner of Harmony Extracts, and like to shout him out as well because I know they just placed again in Spannabis tonight. The reason that it brings me back to like these little flashbacks or memories of Harmony is because when I was there, it was the first time that we had ever placed at Spannabis with our own in-house flower. And we had placed in a lot of other competitions at the time that I was running their facilities, but because they have continued to hold this connoisseur level of product and genetics, we have to add in genetics. They do have beautiful genetics and really care and paid a lot to get a lot of their stuff. And I don't know, it's incredible to see companies doing that. So I would like to pull up some things with them. Okay, I'll show you guys on the back of the screen. Is I have a site just from when 2017 when we placed that first time, and then another little piece of they've won like quite a few awards at this point. So you guys tell me what you think. Has anybody ever smoked Harmony Extracts? They have this hummingbird as their logo. When I first started with Harmony, and I won't go like too deep into it because I know we already talked about it, is they had a female owner though, Emma. She's no longer with them as well, but I thought it was really cool at the time to see, you got Pamela with Scott at Rare Dankness, and there's a couple that we've touched on, but Emma was definitely like a huge influence on their like branding and marketing and packaging, and I think it was beautifully done. So Emma, being a little boss babe, want to throw that out there as well. And this is the spot that I had 17 girls. That's the part that when we went through this with the photos that the staff had already changed out at that point. But there was 17 women when I first came on as the head grower that it was just cool. It was like a super like, ladies crew, if you will. But yeah, we also switched that around too. So I feel like who has grown any Ripper seeds? Ooh, I haven't grown Ripper seeds. I'll be honest with you on that. I am very curious myself. What does Ripper have that's like that you've seen that you like I did notice that Scott from Rare Dankness had a special drop in Spanavis this round. I'm actually really excited to see it. I'll post it next week on the show. I'm not sure if he is selling the seeds, like, except from there. I'm pretty sure it's just like that location only. But could be wrong though. And maybe if you slide into Scott's DMs, maybe he will hook you up, because I feel like it is so cool to see him do a new drop in like the recent years of, I think he has a lot of Ghost Strain crosses. And I was like, this is going to be fire. So yeah, if anybody picked up any gear from Scott, you let me know, because I am jealous. Michelle, it has been so, we have been thinking about you so much lately, and I finally have a little present for you. It's taken me like a decade. I apologize, but I feel like it is lovely to see you, and we all appreciate you so much. Every single one of us just adore you. No, I'm Exotic, Canorado, Raw, Night Owl, and Dark Owl. That's awesome. You know that we like Night Owl up in here a lot, and Dark Owl, obviously, pretty partial. If you're going to do the Autoflower side, that's your dude. I feel, dudes, sorry. I feel like Exotic, Exotic Mike, it's cool because he's been around for so long, but Exotic Mike, when I see him in person, like, he's cool. Don't get me wrong, but he's like keeps to himself, kind of. I feel maybe he just doesn't like me, but I feel like, honestly, Canorado is one of the most like humble, chill, breeding like maniacs. I'm saying, with talent and skill in a career. He's like Jason from Dark Horse. It's like where they really they have these like very like I don't know. Like, there's just love, man. Just the love towards, like, their customers and their plants and what they choose to work with. And I don't know. I really respect both of those guys. And, yeah, I'd have to say they're one of my favorites. Yeah. What's up with the Jack H clone? Yellow Purple Bee, thank you so fucking much. So, okay. Can I just tell you this nightmare? It's not a nightmare. I'm still going to show you all the shit. But I was trying to figure out tonight, because we were running errands today and I got home a little late, and I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out how I can show you guys. Tell me right now. I'll do a show in the middle of the week, this week, to follow up specifically on just our clone project, because I was really trying to figure out how, like, would it be most beneficial if I showed our sick clones getting transplanted in the treatment from the first round that we did? Should we transplant it together and do a treatment, or should we like just do a treatment, or should I just transplant it without you guys and then bring it back transplanted? Or should we transplant it into Rockwool, or should we transplant it into Coco, or should we do the combo package? Do you guys have any suggestions? Because I was going to pull them out tonight and I was like, wait, what am I trying to do? It's like, I think that we could do something, because I like spaced it out and messed up our program, is we could do something where I could cut some new clones and show you some other plants that maybe aren't as rough but have characteristics more individualized that you could see what HLVD looks like, or Fusarium specifically looks like, or some of these things where it's not like everything being fucked. You guys just let me know, because I want to bring the Jack Herrera and a couple of our other ladies, is we had the Moonshine in there, and I believe the Kosher. And I think that it would be great if you guys could guide me a little bit, because I'm going to have my little cameraman help me with this. So that way I don't have a station this time, where we could like zoom in all the way and I can make it match with our notes in the back behind me. What do you guys think? So any suggestions that you have on how I can do all the things? Thank you, Ludo. I needed that. Because Rosendogs, that is hilarious, but it's just in the middle of a thought. I'm so sorry. This Rosendogs is cracking me up. You guys are gonna have to check out the chat sometime. Guerrero Gross, is so lovely to see you too. Okay, we'll go through all the things. I just think that the first time I tried to go into it, and Jason made me such a great station, but the thing was the cameras and me, and I was a little squirrely. So this time I'm going to try to do it a little bit better. So maybe we'll cut the clones, go through the plants. We'll do the treatment thing, do a transplant. Maybe we'll do both, like a transplant directly into like a solo cup, which sounds stupid, but I'll show you the differences instead of like pot size. So you can actually see like how it's manipulating that too. Okay. Thank you guys. So yeah, anything you want to see, and especially the more specific the questions. I'm just being honest about this. Is like if you really do have a specific question about like HLVD, and I know scientists are gonna hate me for like showing you guys pictures of things that you should just look for characteristics of, and you could probably like filter out your plants that way, or we can do this treatment. But I think that the bleach would be cool to actually show you this time with like the new clones, so that I can show you how little of bleach that you're using, but actually use a 5-gallon bucket. You guys tell me if that would be of interest, because I know people think that I'm like the chemical queen over here. So I don't want you guys to be terrified to use bleach with cloning. But if it's one of the best things that you can use to kill HLVD and to prevent fusarium and all these other things going awry, let's just see. Let's just maybe like give it a go together, you know? You guys tell me if you're not interested though. All right. Jeff, good day, y'all. Oh, Fel Bundy, respect to you. Thank you so much for saying that. It really is so nice. I feel like some days I've been telling Jason, I'm like, should I do the podcast anymore? Should we do like... It's weird is I get so conflicted, honestly, is it has been, like I said, such a stressful month, but such an exciting time too, because I do have a lot of new lines coming out this year of a lot of grow stuff, like just stuff that would be helpful, I think, around the growth, and obviously the nutrients line and things like that. But then even that is weird because you see all these guys with their nutrients lines and everybody's like dropping a new product every year and all these things forever. And now I'm kind of wondering, I'm like, well, is everybody going to like just think that this is like another stupid like shit line or like shit on the market or something? I don't know. Those are my only fears and concerns. But at the same time, I'm like, this is actually going to be really cool to launch, is, you know, sooner than later. But I don't know if you guys have actually looked at like manufacturing or like starting. It doesn't have to be anything weed relating or even manufacturing, but you know when you're like doing these business projects, like you start in the beginning and it can get so overwhelming, just like how many steps you have to go through or how long these things will take. And I don't know, but at the same time, I was realizing that like that's the most exciting part. Is I was thinking about taking some of the drawings and ideas I have and actually showing you guys and getting a feel on like, would you use these products and would it be helpful? Or like, I see a lot of products that are lacking that we could use in the grow. And I'm not even talking about fancy or expensive. I'm just saying like paddles, you know, paddles that are better, that mix your nutrients a little bit better, or different like films and sterilization things. I don't know. You guys, this is my safe space to talk about all these things. So you are who I'm relying on and who I really would like to ultimately please. So you guys tell me if you have any ideas or suggestions, please. Oh, let's see. Howdy, great figures. I just love that you guys chat with each other. It really is my favorite part. Squad up in here. Sultan, see, boom. Kim Painter, don't quit your show. I love the chat room. Cool people. I feel the same way. That's what I realized too, is I was like, okay, this like famous chase, or like, you know, everybody, like some people, this is like really funny to admit, is like, so some of the smallest people I've had on like, or I've met or hung out with, I'm saying, nah, I can't even say that. Okay, just people I wouldn't expect. They'll be like, Jay, your podcast isn't that big. Like, we're not coming on your podcast, or this is like lame or whatever. And it's like funny to me because I won't even like I'm not familiar with their brand or something, or I don't even know how to describe it, but they'll be like, no, you're chump change, bud. And then the big guys are like super nice, super supportive most times. The other ones, super hard to get scheduled, I will tell you that. But I think I just like realized one day, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to be famous. I'm never going to be the Britney Spears of weed. So I was like, let this shit go, dude. If I only make it to like a couple subs, I just got to accept it, that, you know? But then I like started like really thinking about, why do we do all of these things? Why do we? And it is to have this closeness. It is to have like your squad. You know what I mean? And I was just thinking about how blessed I ultimately was to have you guys actually come every week. And we don't even know what we're going to be talking about sometimes. Half the time I don't have a guest or want one. And I just genuinely appreciate you guys. I really do. I don't want to disappoint you, but I also just am so impressed with just the dedication and like, I don't know, you do just make my week, you know? So thank you. And to our future cannabis project guys, because they stuck one, you know, they took one for the team for me. They were like, hey, come on our channel. And I was like, man, that is so freaking awesome, for reals. So anybody that actually does like the show and does comment or subscribe, it's not to be a douche, but I just want you to know that it really means a lot. And thank you. Yeah, we're going to keep trying to do this. Let's see. Why not the Britney Spears of weed? You can go barefoot in public bathrooms if you want to. Oh, it's so gross to think about. But it's very Telluride. You know, that's the first place that I would say. Thank you. I enjoy chatting with it. Having community is vital. I enjoy chatting with everyone. Michelle Gerhardt, love you too, JLo. Aaron Woodley. See, like, that's what I mean, is you guys have become my actual family, you know? It's the truth. And I feel, okay, wait, James Miller, I'm sorry, is I have 3 Dark Horse genetics going for the first time. The Blueberry Cross, Chem Dog Cross, and regular Bruce Banner number 3. They're between 3 and 4 foot inches. Okay. No. 3 to 4 feet, sorry, in a 4x5. Sorry, I'm sorry about all that. Getting high. Started 12/28/23. I'm not sure when to flip. Any advice? Oh, that is awesome. Okay, so let's talk about your ceiling height. Like, as I think that is fantastic. Have you tried top, like, okay, so if these are in veg, right, have we tried topping them, or have you taken any clones or anything like that, excuse me, off of them? Because if you haven't, I would probably go through and I would even out all my canopy tops, and I would actually probably use those for my clones to start my next round, unless you don't want to back-to-back smoke the same strain. But I would take all of your tops, just equal her out. I wouldn't take as many as you can get off of her. It's just literally, if there's 3, if there's 3 tops and there's out of the 5 that are just reaching a little bit above, I would take those and keep the other 2, not mess with them. Just keep her all relaxed and chill. And I honestly probably would look at flipping her pretty soon. If you're in a tent, you could probably wait 2 weeks, and you could do this twice in the 14 days. Probably go through, even out the canopy, like I said, bring her down a little bit, and then probably wait 5 to 6 days and go back in and do it one more time, where again, you're not taking all of the tops, but maybe the 2 that you didn't take, you then take those ones. And the only reason that you'd want to do this is so when you actually take her into flower, it's not just limiting the height, but you're going to get that new top growth, and you're going to double up. So every time that you cut that one branch, or that one clone top, I'm sorry if I'm not explaining this well, is you're going to get 2 shoots. So the reason that this is so beneficial is, those 5 have become 10 in theory. And your plant actually really does like it, though. I would say. Not every strain, though. Not every strain, but the strains that you specifically listed off, I think they would really enjoy that. If you have really high ceilings, you could go a little bit longer in your veg time, honestly. 6 months seems really extreme nowadays. But I think 6 months really creates a beautiful, beautiful plant, and a very big plant. If you're restricted as far as plant count and lights and things like that, if you go a little bit longer, you really, really will dump a pretty good solid yield off of this one plant. You really will. And they can get upwards of like 8 to 13 foot tall. Like that Bruce Banner, she's a little, she'll get big if you veg like that, where she'll be around 10 foot or something like that. And we can go into maybe when you get a little bit closer, we could go into like the tomato cage technique, or how you could do the scrog, or sea green, I'm sorry, or the trellis of just taking it across your tray. Or if you don't have a tray, like we're saying, I would probably do the bamboo tripod above her right when you flip her, and just kind of prepare for it so that way she's stable. You're not worried about it moving. It's how we get like weird root rot when they get big too. Excuse me. But I think that if you do, I think it's cool that you've actually like let her get big like that. Honestly, is like giving her time like that. I just think the biggest struggle that everybody has is with vegging a long time is not just like running out of weed, but it's the pest issue. Is usually if you have like big plants like that or big pot sizes. You said that you were in a 10. I'm sorry. 4x5. Yeah, I would flip her. I would probably, honestly, I would still top her. I would top her this week, and then, and I would probably, if you could, I would try to do it one more time, actually, just because if you're kind of limited in square footage and width, I would probably try to get those extra tops. And then, could you do a trellis in your tent? Because I think it would just be easier if you have those little tops where if you could attach it to the corners of your tent. I know this is fucking annoying. This is the stuff I'm talking about making, because I think it would solve all of the problems there. But then I also think that the canopy, the little tripod tech, when you're growing big plants like that is really nice. And it kind of protects it from the light, but it keeps the plant completely saturated on the center. But it's not like where your bulbs are getting fried, like, or your colas, sorry, are getting fried if she's getting big like that. If I am explaining this absolutely terrible, I am sorry. Okay, so let's scroll down. Let's scroll down here just a little bit. Thank you so much for asking that too. James Miller, of course we got clones. Yes, I know my clones. Okay, I'm just gonna be like so transparently, I'm probably gonna fuck myself by saying this. So we had this obstacle with my clones. So I had all these clone orders, right? I'm sure that there's some people in the chat. And I'm so sorry. So we had all these clone orders. We cut all these. Okay, when I say we, this is the department. So if anybody gets pissed ever, it's like I am the person that cuts the clones. It does all the clones and does all that stuff. So it is hard because they're in a shared space. I mean, they're in a commercial space sometimes, and then sometimes not. But the thing is they're like in a high traffic area sometimes, and it's just the way that this is. and so anyways, I had all of these clones cut, and everything was like good, and the plants were really healthy. That's what we take pride in, right? All these things were going fantastic. And then one day I go in to get these clones, and like literally to take them to their proper homes, and there is just aphids everywhere. And I'm just like, wow, what in the actual fuck? Like, talk about ruin somebody's day. I'm only saying this transparently because those that are waiting, like, I can't give you clones with aphids on them. So it like caused this whole fucking thing. And I have different plants, and I have a different grow, and they're separate. So it's not like the end of the world, but I'm only saying this as a genuine grower. Is like, there is nothing more devastating than actually going through all of this work and all of this effort. And I'm talking hundreds of clones. You know what I mean? This isn't like a couple clones, but I feel going through all those things and then really seeing something so root aphids, for those that have not experienced them, will just annihilate your shit so quickly. And so all these beautiful, like, vigorous roots, and like the tops were looking like they were healthy clones, you know? It's just they immediately like start like, like just never mind. And it was awful. So I had to throw them all away and restart. And it's hard because you choose your battles, I think, as a grower, of like, do you tell your customers this? Because then they're going to be paranoid as fuck to ever get anything from you. Then they're going to think the other shit that they get is going to be fucked up. Or they're just going to think it takes way too fucking long to order shit through you. And I feel like sometimes it's just so devastating. You're like, should I even try to do this? But anyways, got through all that shit, all those. But I I had to recut my orders. Is my point. And so I got backed up on clones for the last month because of going through all this shit. So anyways, I'm just so sorry. And I'm probably going to regret saying this. The aphids are fucking dead now. But I feel like it was just one of those moments that I was like, I wonder if people, I know people don't talk about this for a lot of reasons, but I feel like, I was like, this is the shit that like when people are like, weigh out your, like, weigh it out, right? You're like, do I be honest and just like shit? Or do I come up with some bullshit and then they're just like, oh, this person bullshits me. It's like, no, I guess I'll just be honest. But, that's the thing about plants that when people say it's so easy to grow weed all the time, it like pisses me off. Is I'm like, I guess like how, like, how does your weed look? Like, does your weed look like weeds? Like, is that, I don't know. But it's like, I'm not trying to grow weeds. I'm trying to grow flower, you know? And sometimes, my God, is like, I will think that I'm like competent and so good. I'll be like, you know what? I specialize in this. No obstacles. And then, I'm just kidding. I don't. Yeah. But then, or I do, but I'm saying I don't feel that way. And then you'll just have something like that's so like amateur hour, like, just fucking ruin your week. Have you guys ever had this happen? But yes, I do have clean clothes. We're going to be updating the website too. It's like, this is weird, but we got a lot of new genetics. And then I also have been killing stuff that I've been running. And just like, and that Dark Horse, we've been like together, like going through and being like, is this good enough? Or is this unique enough from another one? Kind of like going through your library. We had 200 strains in the last couple months that it was just like too much. Like I've always had libraries like that you're trying to maintain. And I think that like as you, I don't know, young cultivators or I guess anybody is like, you start thinking that you want all this shit. You're just like, I want it all. And then you start realizing you're like, no, I don't want it all. I just want the things that like, I want my Durbans. I want my OGs. I want my diesels. I want my skunks. I want all of those things, but I don't need 50 of the same like runts and whatever crosses, you know? I'm not discounting those either. I'm just saying we only need a couple of the main ones, right? So we're going to be going through our strain list. And I do want to say that as well as a heads up, because I am going to be killing off stuff and taking stuff off the website. The website I've been slacking on for like the last 6 months on updating, but we do have the strains. So yes, but I would like to also run a sale on some of the things we're going to be getting rid of. And then if you guys ever have questions on like pricing as far as like groups, if you're hesitant, especially if you're a home grower, it's like, if you're like, I want to try like multiple strains and I'm not really crazy about any of this shit, but I'd like to get 5 or 10 clones or something like that. And you see that the pricing is pretty expensive or it'd be hard to get like a variety pack, is like, honestly, just hit me up on treatconsulting.com or at gmail.com. Sorry. And the Treat website, I'm so sorry, you can find on my Instagram page and it's in my bio. And if you go directly there, there's a spot that you can message as well, or just hit me up on the DMs on Instagram. Anything is, I'll work out a deal with you because I'd like you to like try them, versus then just be like, oh shit, I'm only limited to this amount or something. It's like, no, I like to work with anybody or as best as I possibly can to make it worth it for everybody. Oh, Mr. Mosaic, crossing all the hits. I like that. Target is so lovely to see you. I've been thinking about you and your family. I was gonna say I've been missing you and your family, but it's hard. I hope you guys are doing so well. Let's see. I like to flip around week 5 of seed. Sometimes 4 and sometimes 6. Just depends on how many I got going. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry if I misunderstood that question originally. Tark, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, I think week 5 and 6 is like a really good system. I think that's what a lot of people like standardly operate off of. Tonight I was thinking about going through the calendar. It's just funny that we're talking about this, but I really wanted to actually put the calendar on the back of the screen. That's what I've been working on is for just these little things that we talk about, like day 21 and day 42 and like even before that, like if you have your clones for 0 to 7 days, what do you do with them? And then to 14 days and then to 21. And then, so when we're going through like those things, I'd like to point out, like, I've seen a lot of people asking about like climate control and like what is like the temperature supposed to be at in the room and what is the water temperature supposed to be at. And some of these things that, like I said, the more specific that you guys are is the more better I can put something together and detailed to answer all of these things and it really be a good resource, because I do think that there's certain products that, like we've talked about this before, but even pesticides and treatments that they will be completely out of your plant by this certain day, or they do only work on contact and they're not systemic at all, or just some of these different factors that I think if we could have confidence in, like you would be like, okay, I can use this safely at this point, but then I can't after this. Or even like after harvest is like, I've been seeing a lot of people that will like talk about how they leave the lights off, right? When their plants are actually being flushed out, and say they're like the last 3 days, they like to leave the lights off and let the plant naturally die. Or they like to keep the lights on and get it super dried out or super wet, like, or full plant hang or not full plant hang. And like, what temperatures are we keeping those things at? And how do people work with tight spaces and big spaces? I don't know. You guys tell me if this would be of interest. Tark, thank you so much for answering that though. Aaron Woodley, what lights are you running over your mom's? Okay, so Aaron, my mom room I used to be sponsored by Lux years ago, actually. It's before Lux like really blew up, or I guess when they were popular with a Gavita. I don't know. But so I've had my Luxes, sorry, for 4 years now. And they are the 630s. So they are LEDs, and they have the adjustable, like, it's not the customizable spectrum necessarily, but they have the adjustable like dial, like pretty much everything does nowadays. So with my mom's is I like to keep it at 50%. It's like I don't really, even when I put younger plants in there, I'll even turn it down. Like it's the same thing as like when we flip into like a flower room, you know, how we used to adjust our lights like that. I know some people still do with LEDs. Is I just don't think your moms really need much more than that. But I'm growing moms that are probably pretty small to people. My moms are about 4 foot tall as the average. Like there is bigger ones, but honestly, with how much we have like exposure and like our switching out stuff and health is like, I can't keep a lot of moms like long term to get a massive and like risk everything else. So I don't know. So the reason I say this is because if I had a 6 foot plant in theory in a 10-gallon pot, is that plant could easily eat and handle 100% of those LEDs, like being on all the time, 24 hours, whatever. Would love it. But if I have a plant that, like I said, is 4 foot tall and it's healthy and it's eating and everything, but that's like almost overkill because of the size of the plant. This is the same thing with like when we talk about EC or PPM implants, is a lot of people will say like, oh, that's really hot or that's really low, you know, on the flip. But the thing is it really is dependent on your plant size. You know, all these factors actually change things in these minute ways. But like when you're really trying to grow the best product, I guess, is those are those big changes where I think that if you look at, maybe this is what we'll do. Maybe this is what we'll do with the calendar. It's like, is I could correlate the stage and the age and the size of the plant that it would be a good range to stick within for a PPM or an EC reading. We all know that pH is like, we talk about this pretty often, but everybody seems to run 5.8 to 6.3, and depending on the medium or depending on whatever. So I think we're all pretty like similar as far as pH, but as far as EC is like, there's a lot of factors that go into that. And PPM. And when people are talking about these salt mixes, even is something I really want to take the time. And I feel bad because we have so many technical shows coming up, but just myself, honestly, trying to break this stuff down a little bit more clearly to people though, is, you know, this, like these generic terms of salts, I'm just like stuck in it. I need to change it myself. But powdered nutrients, anything like that is I don't think it's being explained really well on like the differences even amongst those is there's a lot of organic salts, and this sounds weird, but derived from organic products and like have a short shelf life compared to like some of these like Athena or just yeah, and even Athena is like Athena is almost like a diluted version of salts, like which sounds weird to people, but it really is the truth. Is you're running a hotter EC, but you're running diluted salts, so it's really not as hot as it appears. I know that this could get confusing, but yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into these things though. Is if you're using certain products because you have a lot of hands into something, so you need to use a nutrient line that everybody can understand. And I don't mean that as like an incompetence thing. I'm saying where there's just less room for error as a whole. Is Athena is a great line for that. Is like, but then if you take some of these people that are really making their own salt mixes and breaking them down part per part, I don't necessarily think that's necessary, but you're also going to run a lot lower EC because you're using those as their actual concentrated version, which I don't think is being discussed a lot with specifically salts. And the thing is that was exactly why people started moving to salts, is because the pre-bottled nutrients that we all like, loved, like organic lines, all those things, is like a lot of people didn't realize were coming from salts before, and it was all just because of shelf life, just storing them on the shelf. So even that was like 90% water, and that's on like the the concentrated end. And so then they started moving to salts and then diluting salts, and now you look at, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing to me. But how many of you guys are actually trying new nutrient lines? Is I feel like there's not a lot of growers that I meet that are like, I'm gonna go try this new nutrient line. Like, unless you absolutely have to, unless you absolutely see your shit is fucking up, I don't see a lot of guys racing to switch anything. Is I think that everybody has their like favorite blend, their favorite combo, their favorite tech, and it probably does work incredibly well. And yeah, I don't know. So I have mixed feelings about all this stuff. But then I see these guys that are like super curious or interested, and maybe that's even to talk shit on some of these products. Is like, but if there is anything specifically, I think it would be awesome, excuse me, to talk about. I was tempted by Dark Horse sales, but after hearing about the last year, I think I'll wait for the new gear. What did you hear? I was like trying to think about how I could ask this question. Is okay. So yeah, what did you hear? Is because I feel like hearing from Jason and me talking shit about our shenanigans, or did you hear something else? Because I would like to address anything as openly and honestly as possible, because it has been a hell of a year. Yes, it has. We've got some exciting things though. Honestly, I can't say shit because it's just too much exciting stuff, and well, because I signed paperwork, but the Dark Horse has some exciting things really coming on in the future, and I think that is just so much bigger than any of us could have imagined. And it's just like, you guys got to tune in for Dark Horse's show to listen to the good news. Okay. I don't know when specifically he's going to shift into all of his like adventures that Dark Horse will be doing this year, but there is some shit that is, these are one of those moments that you're like, okay, all that shit and all that stress and all this like BS all went down for the greater good. The greater good. I only say this because if anybody's going through shit in their lives, is you just hang in there, because it could just take a complete flippy to flop, in the better direction. Practical applications in garden are my favorite conversations. Rotten skateboards, thank you. It's like, it really is really nice to hear you say that, because I do go on these rants all the time, and like sometimes people ask me grow questions, and I make the mistake sometimes of like responding without explaining like why I feel a certain way about something, or even like not at Dark Horse, but like places that I've worked in the past that like say they have like a really strong reputation, and this is like a real thing. It's like, say they have this good this great reputation, and nobody can talk about anything. Nobody can talk about, their rooms ever getting powder mildew or ever having a summer of spider mites or ever. And to me, this is like hard because I have seen so many breeders' gardens and so many commercial operators' gardens, and I'm saying like work directly like with or not with, or it doesn't even matter. And there has been so many situations where they are devastated and it has nothing to do with them, like of something going awry or this miscommunication or like a reservoir flooding at the perfect worst temperature and like whatever, or like somebody going and mowing the yard and then or somebody honestly just growing weed at their house that doesn't know what a specific pest is and then brings the pest from their house into your commercial grow, and you're just like, I want my whole staff to like grow weed together, but then it's like you never think that like that's gonna be a fucking thing. You're like, oh, like I have literally made my staff at one spot where I went to their houses to spray their plants. It was like, this is the only way that you can have a grow at your house is like if I come there and physically spray them. I'm not even gonna give you the bottle and trust it like that. And I know that sounds like such an asshole move, but when you get into such like I don't know, stuff where you're like, we can't compromise anything. And it's not even picking on anybody, but bugs are a little mother trucker. Same with PM. PM is like, I know a lot of people, I hear people talk weird about powder mildew, honestly. I hear a lot of things that are just like inaccurate in all the ways, but it's like so, okay. It's like temperatures of powder mildew, like how if a room swings 20 degrees, as a general rule, is you have a really high chance of having powder mildew outbreak. Just because of your room swinging in temperature 20 degrees, which sounds like a lot or a little. But the thing is when you had, all these hot lights back in the day, like a double-ended bulb or lamp was like pretty warm, at all that temperature. And then in the winter, you've got this cold room. Without those bad boys on, like it was pretty easy to swing 20 degrees. I'm just going to be real about that. And now with LEDs, it's a little bit more slightly balanced. But so you can have that just right there. It's not like how you were growing. It's not like you fucking up something. It's just if your climate's a little off like that. Or things like if we have a lot of flooding, and it's like residual water everywhere is so hard to get away from. Like it is seriously so hard to have a tent, to have a commercial grow, to have a freaking barn, to have a garage, to have an attic, like closet, anything with water, right? Like it's just so freaking hard. And it's like the second that the lights go out and you have any residual water anywhere, like once again, another, like I'm just saying, like you can be so clean. Bleaching the floors, it'll help, all this. But there's still a chance you might have it pop up. And I think that these are the things that are just annoying. They're just annoying. And I feel like the more money you put into a space, yes, and dialing in all of the shit, yes. But at a point, you got to be realistic too. Like, and with powder mildew, last weird fact is, like sulfur. A lot of people don't like to use sulfur, and I do understand why. I don't want to like take away anybody's like feelings with that, but I do love sulfur, and I do have a lot of reasons why too. And sulfur though is like it works so well for actually killing powder mildew spores, where it's like this is where like the illusion or delusion can come from is you can burn sulfur in a room and literally kill everything, kill all the spores, but you'll still see that PM on the leaves. Like you'll still see it there, but there will literally be none living in the room. So you have to go back in there and you have to defoliate everything off. But the powder mildew spores are actually dead, are actually gone. And a lot of people don't realize that because you can see it, and because so many of us say that the spores are still living and all these things, is like you have to burn for 5 or 6 hours. And depending on your space, sometimes you have to burn longer if it's not getting smoggy at that point, but you will literally kill it at that point. Sometimes when you use micronized sulfur, is and you're spraying it on, is like you would think it would work better because it's like rinsing it, but sometimes you have to do 2 applications, or 3, because you'll actually miss parts of the plant. So it's not that it's not working on the leaf surface. It's just like, that inside part or like these dense parts of the plant canopy that sometimes you'll just, I don't know. So it's like, it's not that you're not killing it. It's that you might still have residuals because you're not able to get into the places and spaces as well as potentially when you burn. So I don't know. There's just things that I've heard people say like, you can burn, but it's going to take like all this time and you're still going to have the powder mildew. And I was under I just thought that powder mildew, when I was first like dealing with these things, I just thought it was just going to go away. Like I'm just going to spray this shit on the plant, the sulfur, and this stuff is just going to go away and it's going to work like that. And it's like, no, it's not actually how it works. And I feel like people may think I'm an idiot for saying this, but I want to help those that are experimenting with these things because it could be awesome. So top and clone those. Let's see. Number 3, he's slow. I have 3 clones. Me and clone 2, I have to take care of number 3 because he's slow. I messed this up, James Miller. So top and clone those. Oh, is that yes, the ones that you have of the seeds? I really would, especially if you're doing seeds and you're doing like any kind of pheno hunt. I think it's cool when you actually have all the clones, period, and you do just have them kind of chilling while you're room, even if you keep them in solo cups. I know it's not classy, but just as something backed up I think it's a fantastic play. You can't go wrong because then you can just throw them away, or you can actually have your keepers backed up and you're not even stressed. I'm re-vegging plants right now. Okay, I was gonna show you guys a picture of that too. How many people have actually re-vegged a plant? Or had to re-veg a plant, or what do you think of people that do re-veg plants? Because this is another thing that I have people that say like mixed opinions about. Green Dot, everybody seems to be familiar with Green Dot, and Green Dot, I mean, forever they used to not have a big facility. They have a big facility now, but their facility used to actually be pretty small, and they didn't have space to like hold moms like that. And so they would do a lot of these seed drops and like pheno hunts and like really cool shit with genetics at one point, but they always had to re-veg their moms. And a lot of companies like Pink House, Dank by Pank, like lots of guys had these space restrictions, even in commercial facilities where they couldn't keep all these moms. And so anyways, I got into the practice of having to re-veg shit. And now I have to re-veg shit if like something accidentally got flipped, or if I don't know, like different. It's not very often, but like it does come up. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, that is the ugliest plant I have ever seen. And those that have not seen a re-veg cannabis plant, you'll see why I say this. I'll take a couple of pictures of one that I almost have fully gone back. From it's still been like probably like 2.5 months now, but it's like, I mean, almost completely back. And then I just started 3 other strains that I can't lose these clones, and those just started a week ago. And yeah, I'll take a picture for the next show when we do the clone thing. Maybe I'll bring one of those up to show you. Oh, I grew some Lazar 115 from Dark Horse recently. Shit was dank. That's awesome. I'm feeling daring. I love it. I'm in an AC Infinity tent. That is so nice, James. That is super nice. You got like the Gucci of tents. So like 6 foot tall. Oh. Yeah, see, 6 foot tall is like, I think like the max of, if I'm working with a tent, is like, I don't want them much bigger than that, especially like going in. But if you are into super cropping, that's something that we could do on the show one day too. And maybe I could get Dark Horse to do something with us at the grow on him showing you how to do it, or us showing you, or what you guys would like is, if you actually can super crop, that's why I say is like, if you can put the netting really tight, the trellis really tight in your tent, I would do trellis over the the like tomato cage, only because of time, and like tops they're kind of 2 different excuse me, approaches. But if you have a plant that you're already kind of training, and it is around that 6 foot tall, this is a good one to really get to like branch out and really spread out over your little trellis squares. And the goal is obviously to fill in those squares. So that's where the topping really benefits you before this, is because you will get more tops. So you can actually get a pretty dense canopy from one plant. But I think that if you go much past 6 foot, it's so hard by the time that like that day 21 is like really the last day that you want to be like really super cropping shit and like really bending branches. I'd say like pretty extreme, right? Is like maybe day 23. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't go much further past that as far as like really manipulating your growth or branches just hormonally in the plant. And then that's when you get into like rots, or like you can get like bacterial infections, or you just don't. Yeah. So I would stay there. But I think that because they're so flexible at that point, that like what I like to do is I put my trellis up before I move my plant in, and I put all of them up. So like if I think I'm going to need, probably in a tent, you'd only probably need 2 like sections of trellis. But usually I like 4 if my plants are in like rock wool, and the 5-gallon pots or something like that, or the 3-gallon pots is like, I need the stability of the trellis when they start getting really big. So I'll do like 4 sets, you know? But, and probably about a foot, not that far actually, probably 6 inches spaced out apart from one another. So I slide them all on my trellis lines, or all in my tent all at once, right? I don't keep doing it as they age. And I'll just keep them all tight together, the trellis, until the plant gets big enough that I'll just move it up slightly. So I'll pull all those original branches through both squares if we're doing 2 stacks. And as the plant just gets a little bit bigger, I'll just keep ooching it up. And I don't know, at that 2-week mark, like that's when I'll start taking my branches, and like it's not even day 21 for me. Like I will do it, but I'm saying like before that is I'll start really trying to manipulate them and like bending them to kind of have a nice like real elbow, if you will. Again, you're going to end up getting another top off of that. And when I say top, like you guys know, it's like it's just another sprout of like another cola potentially. And I'm trying to think in my mind when I say this is like how we could show photos of this. I know there's plenty of shit online, but how we could actually show like maybe like a time lapse or something on trellis of like at least those first 3 weeks of kind of like how we're talking about training them. But you guys tell me what you like to do. Some people don't like to bend them like that all the way, or they don't feel comfortable with it. But there is like tricks and techniques that we could talk about with that. Or if you didn't want to do that, then I don't know, maybe we should show if like you went really hard on a plant, like where you were trying to do CO green and like flip them on a 6-week cycle, or I'm saying a veg for 6 weeks, 4 to 6, or if we did like, if you were trying to do longer, like what you're saying is like 6 months veg time, or, yeah. Sorry guys, you got me like thinking so much, just feeling it tonight. Run the first round right away, but start the second round then too. Let second round get big and have smoke. That's what I'm talking about, Big Farm. You got your like, it sounds like you've been growing for so long, honestly. World Psychonaut, thanks for having me. I'm so grateful for you being in the chat tonight. Aaron Woodley, if I pull clones from the greenhouse and move them indoors, they seem really strong. I don't know. That's actually really cool. Like doing it opposite like that. I bet they love the sun, like you're saying, greenhouse life. Audun Godin. I don't know if I said it better this time or worse. Just woke up from the green coma. What I miss. You know, this is just a hanging out kind of episode. Thanks for listening to my rants again. I'm worried about the stretch. Yeah, the stretch. That's why I say this bending is if you already like, if it's like pretty big like that, the 4 to 6 foot is like, if you really are concerned that they like stretching too much, where you're just like, shit, this is going to really be pressing into my light in 2 weeks and I'm going to be fucked, or I'm going to have burn colas. It's like, take them and like, trying to see if I could show you with something is if you take, I could try to think with the blunt, but if you really like take your finger, I guess if you take the branch, say it's coming, gosh, I need more stuff. It's like, say it's coming up through the trellis, sticking up straight, right? And you know it's getting too tall. Is if you take your fingers, like really, like say at your trellis line, is you take your finger and instead of pinching it like hard, is like, I think you want to take it and almost, I would take it with the blunt to show you where you would softly press it against your thumb, right? But instead of like snapping it, like I see a lot of people, you would literally just barely press it, like barely. It's just a very soft, like, and you wouldn't snap it, but you would be able to pull it into your other trellis squares, right? Like, this is why I need the trellis or something. I'm like trying to explain this, and I just am sorry. The blunt is not the fucking same. But I do think that it just, once you start getting used to it, I just like remember the first time that like I've seen a lot of people like actually pinch them, like almost like a pimple, where you like take the branch and you squeeze into the center of it and you get it to like puss up. It sounds weird, but and pop that's a way, and you can like take your other fingers and slowly lower it down so that it's not bruising the actual branch. But it's hard. It's hard to do this right, I think, the first time. But I almost think it's impossible for you to like actually kill a plant or like really, really fuck up. I'm not saying you can't, but you'd have to really be an overachiever. So I recommend just trying it. It's like, and you don't have to, I mean, you don't have to think of this just like a cannabis thing. There's a lot of like vines and plants that you could look at and like practice with. It sounds weird, but just to like feel that kind of like sensitivity or that flexibility point of, yeah, I would practice with it. I would play with it for sure. Or you can do it in veg. See, the commercial problem is we can't veg and flower in a lot of our rooms because of power limitations. So I think that if you actually had a space that you're vegging and flipping in, is like I would really put my trellis all the way in veg. Like right now, if you're sitting in your tent and you still are gonna top for maybe another week or two, is I would put the trellis up now, really start training her, if you can with the power. If you're not, yes, where you can still veg in that space and still, because then you can really get her to like go out all the way. You could like seriously take the lateral growth and go through all of like say 4 or 5 squares out from your main plant. And I don't know. That's how you start really getting the most out of your space. I think on just like that top growth. Like we're all looking for like the best colas and all that stuff. And that's how you're gonna get it. AC infinity tents are the shit though. Yeah, Tark. I fucking want one. My gorilla tent, I used to like think was like the most like Gucci thing ever until I saw that shit. And I was like, oh. I'm getting pissed. My backwood came unfolded. Sorry. Put a scrog net and bend them over and flip. Yeah, Tark. Thanks for like putting that into real human words. I heard a master thesis study saying don't feed for 7 days to control stretch. I could totally see that because, I mean, in your feed, you do have things that are definitely getting that, I mean, encouraging that. So I think, yeah, if you were to do that, I think that's a interesting thing to try. Sometimes, like, often, is I like flush with water once a week, my plants. And like when I say flush, it's not like crazy, right? I'll just give them like their normal feed amount in water for 1 or 2 days. And it is tap water. I'm not saying I don't recommend this. I'm just saying this is one of those like monkey see, don't do. Okay. Is I use tap water for the minerals, and I do like some of the shit that's in there, and to have it like lower. But then I also think things like fusarium and all this stuff is coming from all the water like we've talked about, or not all. I don't think it's all coming from that, but I think it's a factor that plays into it. So I think if you can use filtered water, do this. But I also think it's good even if you are growing with any type of nutrients. I mean, soil is hard because you are probably doing the flip. You're probably only feeding once a week, you know? So they're getting water most of the time, so you probably wouldn't worry about this. But yeah. James Miller, thanks for your time and help. Oh my goodness. Probably talking to the chat, James. Gosh. It's so nice. I haven't tried it yet. Big Farm, Lone Star Larf. Flip them, James Miller. They'll probably double. Yeah, your shit would be awesome. Damn, that had to suck. Get expensive quick. That's okay. Okay. Oh, wait. No worries. Get well soon. Tark. No, I would just tell people the truth when life happens. I mean, shit happens. So fucking nice, Tark. It is the truth. I'm like that too. Like, and I really mean that. Is the reason I keep like when people don't like me, and like I've heard Adam Dunn and them talk so much shit about me being an alcoholic for like the last like whenever the fuck I stopped going to the show. But I feel like you hear all these things. Like I was actually thinking about this the other day because like people do say all this shit, and I was going through like the list of breeders because there's been like so many like things on the internet involving like all the breeders, right? Like I don't know, you guys will know in the chat, but the guy that like just hit his girlfriend or like tried to kill his girlfriend that was like 17 but not kill her, just yelled at her and whatever the fuck. And then I was like going through that list alone, and I was like, how many guys have been told like, or I mean, how many like stories have I heard in the industry? And I'm not like trying to like devalue anybody's story, but like of like these man beating like piece of shit men, and then you like hear the like flip of like these girls just getting wild and like making crazy shit up. And I was just like, man, all these breeders, I was just thinking like every single breeder I could go through has some shit, or like weed person has like some shit, like either like people really like them or people really fucking hate them. And I just thought it was like so weird. I was like, it's weird to me that in weed, like this is like a thing that people are like, how can I find a way to hate this person or like them. But I don't know. I guess that's how people are as a whole. But I was actually thinking about how extreme it gets with weed. Like you go to a convention center and like everybody's like rolling the dice on like who they don't see that day. Like it's like, ah, shit, he's going to be here. But can we, I don't know. I just think it's funny. But then we all like end up chilling, working together. And I don't know. I was just like, everybody's got their like shit, I guess. I lost 14 varietals. I'm so sorry. In 2010, not to disease. Okay. I cannot read, apparently. I am sorry. World, you're going to have to break this down for me one more time. My cloning is shit. I don't know why. Yellow Purple Bee, thank you for freaking saying that. I'll try to make the other show better to really show you some tricks with cloning. I recommend Rockwool actually because I do think it's easier than most mediums once you get it dialed in. It's like pretty low maintenance, honestly. It's only when you tend to them too hard, I feel like that they get fucked up from what I've seen with Rockwool. But I feel like if you're really interested in learning, then I would just love to show you some tricks that I like to do. And I think they work well. My clones, like for the last, like I used to take really, really big pride in my clones. and I used to be able to like really, it was like a full-time business for me back at a few years ago. And the thing is it has been so hard in the last 2 years, maybe like a year and a half, if I'm being honest, about just like taking in so much shit that like had so much shit and then trying to keep the other shit clean. And that was even one of my biggest, like there was definitely some rounds of clones that it's not that I thought they were bad or they weren't dirty or something, but I was just like, gosh, like this isn't like my best or something, or this isn't, like it's just weird. But I feel like don't get discouraged by that. Let's just see. Or you can even show me how you clone, and maybe we could just see if there's like a little thing that we could refine a little bit more. Yellow Purple Bee. I don't know. That's just one thing that I feel like cloning is actually, people get really like cocky with it or like try to say like whatever with cloning. But there is a lot of growers that cloning is like uncomfortable for it, or that they have another person do their cloning, and like, and I'm being honest that it is a weird thing that's almost like overlooked in the industry, because I don't know, it's like, I don't know, there's just tricks, just like anything. $15, 15,000 milligrams THC gas station gummies. Damn, Aaron. Damn, Daniel. Just kidding. I think, well, are they good? Are we trying to say that this is good or bad? Because I don't think this sounds good. Somebody was telling me that they have all this fake weed shit. Well, Jason, Dark Horse, they were just talking about all this spray THC. I guess it's like everywhere now. Is that like the gas station, like, yeah, the fake weed? I don't know. It's like we saw some shit like that in Vegas, and I was just like, I feel like the rule is like you always got to do the purest or the realest of whatever you're doing. I mean, good or bad. I just feel like you can't be like, when people want to talk about like powdered nutrients being bad, it's just like you can't be like synthetic drugs, like, ugh. Like, or something that isn't even a drug. Like, that's just weird. Weird, gross. It'd be like me drinking, like, green tea or something that was, like, sprayed green tea flavor or something. I don't know. It's like, it'd just be weird to me. James Miller. I'm a brain injury survivor. Oh, my goodness. Let's start there. I am so very sorry to hear that, and so very impressed by you already. And I'm new to it all. I watched Build a Soil and found a Night Owl and Dark Horse podcast, so I purchased both. Dang, James, that is freaking awesome. That really is. I'm definitely going to let Dark Horse know, because I know that it's going to mean a lot to him too. Is if you ever need help, James, is like, we're down to help you. And I really mean it. And the more that you have questions, the more it helps with the shows too. I feel like it is awesome if you can produce your own medicine, or you can produce your own like recreation cannabis, just to like know what's actually being used in it and on it, and really being able to dial in strains, especially like, I'm not sure with a brain injury or trauma like that. But I imagine that there's probably a comfort or relief, maybe that comes from cannabis. And I feel like there's certain strains that you could probably see over time, or like with your different methods of growing and applying different products or different mediums and different nutrients, of how your body responds. Because I don't know. It's like sometimes I wonder if like it's not the strains, it's like what's going on behind the scenes. Like, for instance, if somebody uses let's just use Pyganic, because I like Pyganic. I use Pyganic, but Pyganic is a pesticide, or it's a treatment, and it works on contact. It's not systemic. It like degrades in the sunlight. It only lasts like 48 hours. It's an on contact, killer. But the thing is I wonder though, is like, if you have somebody that has a sensitivity, just in general, like just sensitive bodies, sometimes I'm sensitive, is if smoking and consuming that product, that those residuals of any kind, and it's not like the actual treatment part of it, it's just like the oils, or if those could make you like more anxious, or if those could make like people get headaches or dry mouth, or like I don't know what I'm trying to exactly say, but I feel like it would be awesome to see you dial in your own system and dial in like strains to see if maybe like it's like rewarding or like fulfilling for you all the way around. I don't know. I just think it's better if you can smoke your own stuff and it's like healthy and it's good. Those guys, the reason I say this is those guys are all doing it right. Is they're all organic growers. I'm not necessarily an organic grower, we all know, but I am though. I can't say I'm not either. I just do it all. But I think, and I enjoy a lot of it. But I do think that if I was growing at my house for only like a personal stash and a couple plants, I would definitely do a soil blend and do an organic mix. Yeah. But if you need help, and I would still do rock wool though. I would still do rock wool into the soil. I was also going to do an episode talking about the rock wool because what it's really made with, what it could really hurt you. Like, what are the fears of rock wool? What are the downsides to rock wool, you know? Same with cocoa. Like, some of these mediums, 2%, like, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about them and using the different ones, but is that something that would interest you guys, is to actually hear the differences between the mediums, or does that not sound interesting at all? Let's see. Farming is always a variable. Shit do happen. Gosh, Gerhardt, you fucking get it. Yes. That's exactly it. It just, sometimes it like makes you so sad. I'm going to be completely honest. Some days I want to fucking just have a meltdown. Like, because you will work so fucking hard and you will be doing so much, and then like the dumbest things will happen. They're just the dumbest, you know? Like, I really can't think of it. Like, especially summertime. Like, for reals, like say a spider mites get in the room at week 7 and they haven't been there, period, and it's been all clean, but you walk past a rose bush and now you can't spray in the room and you got spider mites and you're like, well, let me just watch this fuck up all my weed. There's just so many so many moments in my life that I've just been like, oh, it hurts. But it feels damn good though when you like walk in after getting through all that shit and you have a fire round that you're like actually proud of, or people like really want to get, or they're waiting for, or I don't know. You know, it all keeps us humble. It all keeps you balanced. You know, that's what I think. It's like baby Jesus, like keeping us in check. He's like, dude, you think you're good at this? Fuck you. And then he's like, and then you get good at it, and then he's like, fuck you. But then the times that these guys come in and they're like, you know what, you guys make this look so hard, and they just crush for like 3 years. It's like fucking mind-blowing. I don't know. It's cool though. Michelle, those insects are constant surprise. It's so easy for them to travel and get into our grows. Gosh, Michelle, thank you. Yeah. Yep. The vents, the buildings, like we were just talking about, like the outside of the buildings and making sure your perimeters are sealed. And I mean, garages, we all grow in garages at some point in time. And it's like, you'll think that you got that shit so bleached, so sealed, so everything. And it's like amazing summertime. Like one time I had a snake in my grow and it was just like, what in the actual, get it out. Lone Star Larf. I like your name. Always fun learning, but the school of hard knocks hurts sometimes. Yes. It is the truth. Like some days I feel like you're like, do I like do I keep doing this, or do I just like find another hobby? Just kidding, but no, you gotta hang in there. It's weird though, because like when I say this is like I was thinking tonight that cannabis is like the only thing that I've ever been able to rely on though, 1000%. Like I'm saying, like, and I know this sounds really fucked up, but like if you remove, like I was like, it's like my lover, like cultivating. And I think that's why I like fell in love with it, is because I think I was like always addicted to working or something. But I also, deeper than anything, is I think it was like your comfort or your safe space with like a person. In theory, it was like plants always listen to you. They're always so receptive of you. Like it's like a weird thing to me that like your emotional state and like how much you care about something and how much you put into something can actually come from what you grow. Like it's been one of those things that like actually gives you what you put in, I think, back. I don't know. It's like out of most things in life. And I think that it's something that nobody could ever like take away. It sounds so weird. I'm sure they fucking can, but they can't. And I don't know. I think it is like all those obstacles though. It's almost like the plant, you taking care of the plant. It takes care of you back. It's like a mutual. So when they get bugs and shit like that, you're just like, man, like, am I being a little shit lately? Like, what's going on? Oh. Yes, be on top of the world and boom, Murphy. Shit's all over you. Yes. Yes, Gerhard. Yes. It's like if you screw up germination, it's so easy, but you get comfortable and wham. Oh my gosh. Germination is such a good point. Like, that's actually a really good one, because I think that a lot of people don't even have the balls to try doing anything like that. And then the first couple times I think you try, it's not that it doesn't work and it's not that it doesn't go well, but I definitely think that there's a lot of learning curves in like HVAC and pollen and well, all kinds of things. Let's see. Well, guys, we'll teach you clone tricks for sure, Yellow Purple Bee. Big Farm, what would I be? Super sad if I lost. People always tell me after I kill something that was my fave. Yeah, that's a great question. What would you be really sad if you lost? What would be your guys' like most devastating strain to lose? Mine's Boot Kush. I couldn't get it back. I could get it back, but she's just like, there's like a sentimental attachment, not even just with the strain, but just with that plant. Yeah, I feel like that's what's hard too, though, is I've killed stuff like that, like even going through my garden, or like we had a whole like employee fucking shit show a couple months ago because of being like this. Is like we were taking care. I was taking care of this person's plants, and like the other person was like paying for all the plants to be taken care of, basically, and this person like just like left him and kind of like. You know, it was like, it was fine because like we had plants and whatever, but we agreed to helping this person out. And then they like said that this was important to them. So we decided, because nobody was like really like giving a fuck, that like all this work was going down into these plants for like almost a year, is like treating this other person's plant, like taking care of their moms, cloning for them, like everything, right, for free, and paying the bills and doing all this stuff, right? And then one day we're like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's just too hard with like, we're bringing in new stuff, getting it clean. Like, we can't have this get dirty and then all this shit, you know? And so like, we have this conversation where like, you got to come like clone this or take the plants or do like whatever the fuck. Like, we don't want you to lose it, but we can't keep it. And then this person like ended up not coming, saying that they didn't give a fuck about it. And then like right after we kill them and like clean this space, you know, they like are like, where the fuck is that plant? We're like, what? Like, you owe me $2,500 for this. And it's like, what in the actual fuck are you talking about? Like, but I feel like it's always the timing, though, for reals, of like something will sit there, like I said, for a year, and it will like, it's like nothing, right? It never even crosses the person's thoughts. But then the second that it's not there, they're like, so you remember, like, where's that? It's like, damn it, weed. I feel... Yeah, dude, that's jaded from growing. AJ sure. Oh, for a dude that's jaded from growing, AJ sure is very talented at it. Oh, I love that. That's really nice. Shooter, cheers, brother. Cheers, brother. Bless up. Some love in there. Michelle, James Miller, you will have to keep us up to date. I was very impressed with his strains when he showed them. Rusty Nails, long time no see. I do quick flip. All from. It's lovely to see you. All from seed too, 4 to 5 weeks. I mainly grow tops, but some are 4 feet tall trees that would have been monsters outside. That is fucking awesome. Especially, I like that you guys are doing it like with that tree style. I think even that alone shows like the real love for the plants and what you're doing. It's like that patience says a lot. And honestly, I believe this. Don't like hold this against me. This is just opinion based, okay? But from testing results in potency, is potency specifically of all the shit, right? Is I've seen the THC really go up, I believe, in plants that were left vegging longer like that. I'm not saying this is like a guarantee or so. It was something consistently that I've seen compared to plants that get flipped pretty young. I just think it's interesting. But that goes in both ways. If you like flip a really shitty mom, I've also seen that like go awry. Yes. Well, I feel like okay, I wanted to show you guys this Spannabis thing and I got so distracted from the Harmony thing, but I know you guys don't even probably care. I know you guys probably don't even care. Let me see if I can show you really fast. This is the website thing. We've been on this. Yeah, sorry. Let me show you the other one, though. This is Jeremy, and he was just on Adam Dunn's show not that long ago. He's the one that's their head extractor at Harmony Extracts. But I just thought this was interesting because this was the first year, like I said, that we had placed when I was there. I would read this all to you, but honestly, I'm not going to. I will put the link in the description though if you feel like checking this out. Harmony is like, if you're around Colorado, they also do have a spot in Barcelona. I used to oversee their grow virtually. But I feel like it's funny. It's funny to think that this was 2017 and now it doesn't feel that long ago. And now that they are, I don't know, they're just back at it. Let me show you though that they had, let me try to switch this. I'm so sorry. Bum, bum, bum. Yes. Okay. I did this last minute. So we're going to hope it works. You know how this goes, guys. All right. Yes. Okay. This is my last thing before we wrap it up. I can't successfully smoke a blunt 3 weeks in a row. So we're going to start having to do like, not shots, but like for every blunt or every time that my blunt goes out and I don't smoke it, then everybody else has to take a dab or like hit their pipe or hit their, what do you guys think about that? And then I have to roll another blunt. Okay, but RBD Extracts, based in Colorado, is a highly acclaimed cannabis concentrate brand that has claimed 87 industry awards. Okay, after yesterday, or what's still going on, they now have 89. Woo! I wish I had like the little sound thing. Okay, I'll be my own cheerleader. So that's all I wanted to fucking say. I was thinking about this of like, if you place like this though, like the first time was like super exciting, you know? And I thought it was a big deal. All the guys went on the stage and they like all celebrated and did whatever. But I feel like after 89 times, I was like, would this make you an asshole if you were just like, you know, let's just like hang out. Like, I don't need to go on the stage. They're probably not like that at all, but I was proud of them. Okay, they've had a strong reputation, and it's cool to see these guys still be in business. This is the grow that we went through and did on like episode 49 or something close to that of the facility that we did like the recirculating veg and stuff off of. And it's cool. They've got to like upgrade in facilities, and I don't know. It's exciting to see these brands carry on. We were thinking about some of the ones you guys, Jason brought up from Dark Horse today. He brought up sorry I keep saying that, it's like habit, he brought up the clear. Do you guys remember when that first came out? And it was like so fucking popular too though. It's like the like clear ball of everything and like Mahatma Shatter Days and like all this stuff that we were just like, TC Labs used to be a big company. They went out of business. That was like super popular. Like Pink House, honestly, like the clinic with their hash, like I don't know, like we were just going through like just these weird fads and phases throughout weed. And he made the comment that was like so accurate where he was like, no, it always comes down to like the best flower. Like it doesn't, all the fads come and go. Like even like rosin and all this shit. It's like, I remember when I first started in this industry, people hated solventless shit. Like bubble hash was fire. Like basically people were doing quote unquote rosin back then. And everybody's like, no, I only smoke solvents. And like it was like butane's fire, and then it went from butane to propane, and then it was like fuck propane, and then it went from distilled steam, and then it went from distilled steam to now just fuck it, we press it. And it's like all these guys spent millions of dollars building out these facilities to just be compliant. and the fad would literally last 10 months or something. And I don't know, it's just crazy. Do you guys remember any brands before we wrap this up? Do you guys remember any companies that you really used to like? Mahatma was fucking huge in Colorado. It was huge. Jeremy was the head extractor for Mahatma before Harmony. And it's like crazy because they were just massive. And they are no longer. And yeah. Oh, probably just topping twice if you only got 5 weeks. Yeah, you're right, Lone Star. That's really good. Is the thing that will happen is if you top too early or if you top too much, like to a plant, within that 5 weeks, like we'll use that as the example, is those first 2 weeks, you really don't want to top it. I know that it's tempting and I know they look awkward and I know that they have leaves and like they're starting to get like shitty looking. People like make fun of you if they walk into the grow. But the thing is, if you can literally wait 2 weeks to take the first tops at least, is you'll avoid a lot of like dudding can happen, and like some of these strains do not like it at all. So I think as a safe spot is I think that doing your first top, like in theory on day like 15 to 20 would probably be good. And when I say not doing all of the tops is like really just taking like the 3 exaggerated points or the 2 exaggerated points and yeah, evening out your top and then going back through the next week and only taking two other additional tops from the plant in theory. I think it's really watching the plant, like is being patient with her. Sometimes we go too hard and too close together, and it's the hormones and like their growth, and I'd say 4 to 5 days, right? With most things, you want at least 4 to 5 days resting period, a little rest, a little break. We all like it. Root zones are underrated. I love that. Chad Westport, that's awesome. Yes. I think your roots, like, sometimes I like call it root porn all the time in the grow. It's like the boys will just like be rolling their eyes because I'll be like, look at these roots, like showing off like the pots and stuff of just they are. When you see like sexy roots like that, you're just like, Okay. Lone Star. I go by the plant. If it has short internodes, it's a tree. If it looks to get tall, I top it and leave 4 to 6 limbs, then flip that a few days later. Rusty Nails, beautiful description, much better than myself. That's very true too. It's like you've got strains that have like rainbow belts and like all that stuff with Skittles, like the Z in it is like that's just one of the first ones to come to my mind. It's like those do not stretch and they do not like to be topped. It's like they take so long. It's almost like Mac 1 for rails is like another like long vegger is they don't like to be topped, and it really does like mess them up. It gives them that dudding and like that really tight internodal spacing that you really don't ultimately want. But I'm saying worse. Good job, Rusty Nails. Rusty Nails is like a real grower. I say that because Rusty Nails will like call some shit out. He'll be like, listen, this is fucking dumb. And then, but I do appreciate Rusty Nails so much because I think you know what's up. Athena got people losing their minds. Your plants aren't getting what you are giving them. They don't need 3 to 3.5 EC. Thank you, Big Farm. Like, that's the stuff that like I get frustrated with these big companies, not because of their products, but because of the way that they're selling and explaining them is like, I've fed a plant an EC of 6, which is high as fuck. So hot. And it wasn't Athena, it wasn't whatever. It was my own salt mix. But I fed a mom specifically an EC of 6, and she loved it. Loved it. It was like massive, and she was like a really big, that's how much it needed. But it was like, but you can never go, and not say never, but it's like there's not a lot of plants that size or like eating like that, like 3 is insane. Like to me, like you would have to literally have a plant that was like, I don't know, like 15 foot tall and like you were going to run for like 16 weeks. Like, like maybe Ghost Train Haze, maybe some of these ones, like I know people can get Ghost Train, they say, to finish earlier, but I'm saying there's a lot of those hazes that maybe, but those are like, that's even like super hot. And you probably wouldn't do that. You probably wouldn't mix a feed that hot. You'd probably manipulate your dry back or like your runoff and stuff like that we've talked about before. Like you probably wouldn't still feed it a 3 or 3.5. Like they just want you to buy more shit, I feel... Thanks, James. I follow AJ, so I will keep checking. Yeah, AJ is awesome. I really like AJ too as a person. I think all the people I try to like hang out with or fuck with is like I like them as people. I really appreciate their work in this obviously as well, but I really like them as people. And AJ is one of those people that's just like he's hilarious. He's hilarious. He's cool. He knows what's up. I prune away lower stuff in early flower if it looks to be larvae. I like having a variety. Yeah, I definitely prune my plants pretty heavy on the base. Some people will talk shit even when they see them like it's too much, but everybody has their preference, I guess, but I feel like I like them clean. I like them tight. And I think the plants like it. There's a couple strains, like, just like was brought up, thank you, Rusty, is there's a couple strains that don't like it. A lot of those, like, OGs, like real OGs, like Larry OG, or like, I don't know, just some of these ones that like already grow weird, like we've listed off, is they just don't like to be cut a lot. They don't like a lot taken off, not leaves, not, but I like having a variety as well. They have both been a big help with the tips on growing since I'm fairly new to it all. Both awesome guys. That's fantastic. Yes. Jeremy, too, is like Build a Soil. Is I had a client in Evergreen last year, maybe the year before. It's like all blending together, but he like wanted me to use Build a Soil's line, and it's the first time that I actually used the whole, like, a whole smorgasbord of shit. Like, I mean, just everything, I feel like, that the line could possibly offer, which I know what you're thinking. It's a lot. But this guy was a glass blower that was, like, totally vested into Build a Soil system, and I really was impressed with it. It's like, we added, like, a couple things, like worms and things like that I'm sure Jeremy probably sells now. But I think for somebody looking for truly an organic line, and especially like even like vegetables and house like plants and stuff like that, I think that Jeremy offers like a great situation. Yeah. If that he's probably one of the best I've seen as far as like truly being like vested into his line. Like, knowledge wise, and like really trying to source like good products and things like that from what I've seen. Yeah. Jeremy's like, I've met Jeremy and he is like nice, but then like sometimes he's like too like extra for me in person. It's okay, I can say that. It's my show. I went from salts to organics, but Jack's was my salt of choice. Arizona Grows, that's awesome. My salt mix is very similar to Jack's. It's not in specific ways, but it is ultimately, if I was to compare it to any other product though, like Jack's, yes, I am a huge fan of Jack's. I would recommend Jack's, and I'm not bashing on Athena, but I would recommend somebody using Jack's over Athena. I really like their product line, and you want to talk about somebody that's like, you're running a lower EC using Jack's, and it shows that they really are like, they have this higher quality. I don't know. I think that they have a little bit higher quality salt, like sourcing of the actual salts themselves. I know Athena would be very disappointed in me for saying that, but I just personally really, really like Jack's. It's the same thing. I would use it on my yard. I know people aren't crazy about that, but if you were going to use it really diluted or something to give like your roses or your plants like a little pick-me-up, it's an awesome one. Thank you, Arizona Grows. Shadow Mech, is lovely to see you too. Rooted Leaf is the truth. It's easy to be like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it's fun to have 4x4 experiment, and it's fun. Aaron, that's so cool. Yeah, you're right. I think that's why, if like even people sometimes like actually take and do a couple different like pot sizes or different mediums together, like in a tent, like what you're saying is like, I feel like it's a pretty good situation. Sorry. Is so that you can actually see like how the plants do grow dramatically different. Like that's why I say like the solo cup and like doing one in cocoa without cocoa, and I have to visually show you guys. I'm sorry. I get it like all figured out in my head and get too excited. That make no sense. You said you were fighting HLVD. It can be passed to seeds. So, well, okay. So when I started with Dark Horse, is we all came together in a weird way. So I had specialized with HLVD for like approximately 10 years. And I know that this is weird, but this is why I get all pissy when this is like the new fad. And this is like something I've like actually studied and like specialized in recovery for a long time. in commercial scale. And so when Jason and I had like initially that he was concerned about this, he was like, this is a concern I have. This is like, we've been seeing these changes and things that he's like, I do not like. He's like, we are known for growing this great quality. They're seeing these little. So anyway, so Jason, excuse me, ends up working with Toomey Genomics, which you guys are all familiar with, and they are fantastic. But we ended up getting the grow tested, and we had a lot of strains that came back positive for HLVD. And the thing is I'll be honest about this, is most grows I've ever worked at is the majority of their grow will test positive for it in the beginning, and that's why they purchase your line. That's why they're buying my system, not solely, but that's a huge component to it, is like getting these diseases or getting these things. Fusarium and HLVD, like I said, I think Fusarium is worse personally. They usually go hand in hand though. So like you'll start seeing these little quality declines and whatever. So when we got these results back, he was like, what the fuck? And these are like a lot of strains that you can't lose. Like, like his clone onlys of like his genetics and his breeding, like clone onlys. So what we did is we cleaned and I'm saying that's why I want to show you guys these cloning techniques and some of these practices, is because I've fixed 140 commercial grows with HLVD and Fusarium and completely gotten it out and like gotten them to be able to compete and gotten them to be able to really turn around quality and stuff like that in a pretty reasonable amount of time. Like 9 months is like the long end. 6 months is like where you really want to be at, I think. But so anyways, we went through all this shit, right? And I've known that like HLVD and Fusarium and all that shit, I didn't very well know that can be transferred in breeding. That's why my breeding project took so long to be able to do, is because I used all of these strains that were super dirty and I had to wait and get them clean before I actually did my breeding line. And so Jason is like, the Dark Horse is like very, very like into quality, right? Like just like everybody. So, or I'm saying like everybody in this group really is into that. And so Jason was like, I can't risk like ever having this be in my products, like seeds, anything like that. And so anyways, we went through so much, and I'm saying he went through so much and did so much as an owner to make sure that, yeah, had all the tools, all the things to be able to really accomplish getting our grow 100% tested clean. So not only are we testing clean, and for a long time now, is we get tested on a regular reoccurring basis. So, and all of our plants get tested. So all of our clones get tested, all of our, like individually, I mean, not just like batches of shit. It's like everything has a barcode scan tag on it. I used to do the testing myself at the facility with Toomey's equipment. And because they used to have an older style that they did actually. And so it was awesome because Toomey was working so closely with us, is I was able to test like anything, anytime. But then they got this new equipment. And so we've been having them come in and do it, not because it's like hard or difficult or anything, but because we have so many strains now. We have so many plants, so much shit going on, is, that, yeah, they just come in with a couple people and literally get it done in a couple hours, versus like me, it takes me all day. So I feel like this is something though that we have done over the last year, like for a year, a little bit over now. And we've consistently had our garden test clean for 6 months now. And I'm just saying where there is nothing with it. And it was it was hard during those beginning months of all this. It just always is. It's like you're having to like keep shit away from other shit and like quarantine, and then shit gets spread, and then I don't know, it really honestly is like easier than one would think, but like harder to maintain it. So yes, we have come a long way, but I'm glad that you said that. It can be passed to seeds though. So seed transfers that they're seeing even at this lab is they're seeing 70% is on the high end is getting transferred through seeds. Like but the average that they're seeing is 30%. So I feel like you can take that as you will. It's just something that you gotta look. I think you just got, once you have the eye for it, once you know what this looks like, and this is why I say labs and scientists would disagree with me. They'll be like, no, you can't see this. But I think as a grower, you can definitely fucking see this. And that's why I want to show you with these plants, more isolated than the ones that we took the clones from, because those have a combination of issues. Versus if I can show you what a plant looks like with just HLVD. And you guys know I do this on a regular basis for a living, so don't get wild. But as I have some that have specifically certain things that I would love to show you my dirty plants. Don't tell anybody. Just kidding. I hear you. We all want jumbo shrimp. You leaked it. Oh, gosh, guys. I can't believe you guys have been listening to me going on and on about all this. The having employees is what craft cannabis starts to deteriorate in commercial cannabis. Yeah, rusty nails, to be honest, is people do not like to hear this from me all the time because I bitch about staff all the time. And it's not a personal, thing with staff or anything like that, but it is so hard. I have literally managed crews that are, a lot of people. Let's just say 50 on the medium end. And that's, an obstacle, but, kind of, honestly easier in a weird way versus, the small groups can be really challenging because most people all grow and most people all have different opinions with growing and different approaches with growing, and damn, it can just make it so hard in summertime. I really, really mean it. It is so hard in a commercial facility to keep people, if you go on your lunch break, and you go sit in a park or something, all these stoners are outside people, so they're going to smoke their shit or whatever is going down, something's going down. So they'll come back inside and russet mites are fucking everywhere in Colorado, everywhere. They're on every weed you could have, all grass, trees, just everywhere. So it's russet mites are a bitch. I'm not going to say they're as hard as people think to get rid of, but they're not easy. And the damage that they cause is so fucked up. It's just so fucked up that you don't want them. So I don't know. Those are the obstacles, I think, with the staff. When I bitch about late flower rooms getting things, it's never the person that's really, or the people that are really tending to a space. It's really not. It's the people that do mild tasks or little stuff in a space that they're really not I don't know. It's not personal, but it's just they'll bring something in on accident and mean no harm, no foul, and it will just tear you out. One time I had a room get russets and aphids. That's what I think of when I think of these things, is I just think of specific moments. and this room got aphids and russets at the same time, and it was aphids, russets, and root aphids. And so it was at week 8, and this room literally had nothing. I am not exaggerating. No problems, no bugs, no anything. And all it took was just this one particular outing where everybody just went to hang out one day and seriously go to a park and chill, and zero intentions of it, being bad or cross-contamination or something, but they went in to check on things and ended up getting that room super, super sick, and we just had to throw away seriously 40 pounds of weed. And I feel those are the times that there's people you're okay, I can't release this because this would annihilate my reputation and everybody would think terrible, terrible things forever about me. But the truth is the amount of money that sometimes these people have to throw away, or it just hurts. I think you guys can relate to that. It's it just hurts. You're just but that's why I use pesticides. So when people give me a hard time with pesticides, or they're Jay, you should use this mild shit. I'm dude, if you think I woke up in the morning and I just wanted to become an exterminator and smoke the shit, it's fuck no. But it's but this stuff doesn't work. And I only say that with these specific situations, or these if it was organic and natural, we probably have tried it before. And I'm saying along with years of experience. It's like if it doesn't work, you can't let the commercial grow just like go to shit like people think, or keep bugs at bay. Like I know a lot of commercial grows get in the habit of just being like, oh, we're gonna have these forever, we'll just keep them at bay, like thrips and fungus gnats especially. But it's like you can't have that shit. That's why Fusarium and HLVD, I think, have gotten to such a peak in these last like 10 years, is because of thrips and fungus gnats and things like that coming in the medium, like from soil back in the day. It's like soil really didn't have, I think, the contamination issues that you see in the last like 7 or 8 years, and kind of like even the decline in their quality. But the bugs, man, is like, I don't think that we'd see a lot of the issues that we see with even like uptake and flushing and even your clones. Like, and then I don't know, like this may not have anything to do with it, but cloning sometimes will be because, say, like russets, you can't like visually really see, unless you know like some of the characteristics coming from the plant. Like sometimes you could have russets and like your clones, you'll be like, I fucking suck at taking clones, and it has nothing to do with something you're doing wrong. It's just russets will really stunt and like make your rooting process hell compared to, like normal. Same with like even fungus gnats or something. Like, sorry, I'm rolling the butt. Because I feel like it just all slows you down. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to at least light this because I have yapped and chapped your ear off for so long now that I don't want to say goodbye. But I think that we should call it a night soon. And I think that you guys should let me know in the chat comments what the fuck I can put on the screen. I'm saying to answer these specific things when we do our cloning, transplant, treatment party. What to do here. Okay? I need to put lip gloss on. I didn't put lip gloss on the whole show, and the only reason I say that is not to be a loser, but my lips are dry as freaking raisins over here. How are you guys feeling? Gotta watch that dew point at Lights Out. Oh my goodness. So another great point, Big Farm, is because the Fusarium and the HLVD, when your lights are off, sorry, that's when everything has its optimal like situation going on. So that's why you see like Fusarium and all that stuff really start like, it's just bad. I'm saying really take a decline on your plants in flower compared to veg is because in veg, when it can stay dormant, it's actually because of your lighting cycle. It's actually because you have your lights on 18 and 6 or 24 hours. It keeps your medium, keeps everything kind of at bay. I mean, it really actually does. With HLVD and Fusarium, Botrytis, Pythium. Fusarium specifically, though, when I say this, is you'll see it take a huge flare in flower at like weeks 3 to like week 6. And that is because of that night period or that dark cycle. And your humidity and all those things coming together is just the ideal environment for that shit to like dominate. That's when it starts dominating your plant, your root ball. Like it just starts overpowering it. So if you are running into any issues with like root rot or anything, it goes weird is you can't like get your rooms too hot because you're like sensitive to the heat, but you're almost better off like extending your light period. If you, I know that's not like always a working situation, but if you're seeing your plants seriously getting like a little wobbly or they look a little hurting, it's like I would switch them to 24-hour lights. I know it seems ass backwards, but for a couple days even, or like a week, and see if you can get them to kind of push through it. I don't know. Sometimes that makes things worse too, though. It's hard to tell without seeing the specific situation. You said it, Rusty. Nobody's going to look out for a paycheck. Oh, shit. How did I miss this? I know that the Hayes brothers had a disease patch that they took plants to for resistance selection. Took pathogens there also. It's not a secret. Oh, that's awesome. I think that that's an interesting... I have to watch this. I'll have to find... I've heard of these brothers that you speak of, but I don't know shit about them. Is Yeah, is I think that the thing that's weird about this like resistance, like Andrew I know completely disagrees with me. is and excuse me, I love Andrew and I love he is a scientist and he does have tons of experience in pest and disease eradication. So I don't know, we just have different thoughts on this though. Is I think that like your resilience is like your building already. Like or I mean it is like your space shit already. Is most of us want a perfect space, but most of us don't have a perfect space. And I think that when you have these plants in spaces that are like I'm just gonna go back to Harmony really fast because we were talking about the thermostat, how it has one thermostat, it has this open mez in this huge climate that you're trying to control and shared spaces and like cross contamination from all these different rooms. And we successfully could grow in that space, but it's hard to it's it's hard to have it perfect all the time. So when winter comes, right, it's like I would have to, so because it's hash, I'll just be honest about this and compliance, but like even back then this wasn't really a thing, is you can't spray sulfur as a treatment or anything like that in the garden. So, and especially Jeremy would not, like he hates sulfur more than anything. Every hash guy hates it, right? So he was like, fuck, do not spray sulfur anywhere in this building, right? Because the lab was there, all these things, and people do get all paranoid about that stuff. So like that wasn't an option versus that is like really, really good preventative for PM, particularly in that space, right? But because you can't use that, so then what do you do now? It's like you got this one thermostat, you got like these obstacles, you're gonna have standing water somewhere, somebody's gonna spill something, the reservoir is gonna flood, like floor is gonna get dirty, like something's gonna fucking happen. So it's like when you're looking at that, it's like that's when we start looking at other products of like Procytic 2. Procytic 2 is a completely different approach, nothing to do with sulfur, nothing to do with residuals, completely organic. But you're probably going to have to spray something before, like, let's just say week 3, if you're really being a rebel. Okay, everybody's gonna be like, ew. But week 3 is if we're going like a 9-10 week harvest, it's like, okay, this stuff is approved until harvest, so it's like safe, whatever. But we all know that we don't want to spray our shit. I don't want to smoke shit past week 3. And so if you go through and you spray this, then you got to make sure after week 3 that there's nothing jeopardizing that space. Like, right? But then all the things that I just listed off, plus a billion more, is they're going to happen. They are going to happen. The more traffic or the more just like you were saying is like something is going to happen. Something, the temperature, something's not going to kick on the way it's supposed to. I don't know. And what I've learned is like the more attention to detail though that we put into like everything, and I know we've talked about this like plenty of times, but like all your surfaces, all your surfaces of like the walls and your lights and your poles and your buckets and your trash cans and absolutely every fucking thing you touch, the vacuums, the fans, like everything that's so annoying to clean is like the cleaner we keep it, your plants just always do better. Is I think that it's just like a given 100% without having to go hard with a lot of treatments or having to do a lot of stuff. But the resilience comes from like that plant being resilient. It comes from being in that climate that's compromised, and it comes from being exposed to bugs, and it comes, so like there's this weird fine line that I seen at Rare Dankness, 100% actually, is I was privileged in being one of the first hires there, and the only reason I say that is because there was 3-4 of us fucking working in a 60,000 square foot building, doing every single thing together with Scott, with like, it doesn't get more intimate than how we ran that for the first 6 months. And then after that, all of us are being managers of like quadrants, right? Of hundreds of people. So it's like, that's different. But when you start in a space where we're showering constantly, and we have scrubs, we're not going outside, it's a brand new space. This is all comes from seeds, right? And this is like a beautiful, flawless space that has never been used for weed. And we're all experienced growers that are good at what we're doing. And so all of us come in, we don't have any problems. I'm not just saying this, right? Like you wouldn't expect to. And like, so we don't have a lot of shit going on. But then a year into it, like this is what people don't realize is because it was so sterile. It was so sterile. It was too sterile. So we weren't inoculating. We weren't bringing back any beneficial bacterias. So this is where you'll fuck up by being too clean, right? So the second a cardboard box comes into Rare Dankness's space, in theory, is you would get powder mildew because all those spores from the cardboard, there is nothing. These plants have zero resistance, zero resilience towards any exposure to a spore, right? They're like, we just don't have them. Like, and so good approach. I think like taking that situation and seeing that, yeah, we didn't have any of these other issues. It was really probably a lot easier to eradicate than a lot of grows that size would ever be able to like fix it in. But I think those are things that kind of go both ways where you want the plant to be freaking strong too. It's like you're doing these treatments and you're taking care of your plant so that she's not like a little bitch, you know, like it's like you have 6 weeks in theory to get them as strong and resilient as possible and then throw them into something that they're like either gonna like or not like. And like I mean I hate to put it like that, but I think that I would rather have the reason I keep like a cycle in my life of like sick and healthy plants and like all this shit all the time is not because it's like necessarily fun to fuck up like sick plants, but like every time that I bring something, so like the strains that I've had for like 10 years, like solidly, you know, like no breaks in between, is like those plants have been exposed to HLVD like 17 times and then cleaned up and then this and then or aphids, and now they don't get fucking aphids or like, you know, fungus gnats or powder mildew. Or it's funny, but all the plants that like I started this journey with are very resilient. Like they are, compared to some of the new strains that I get that are like probably the most popular and the most like new to the market, obviously, is they're just, it's almost like they're sick when they get bred. And I'm not trying to bash on anybody, but I really do think HLVD and Fusarium got transferred so much through seeds and from everybody for a long time. And I think that because of that, then you're bringing that into your space and then that's compromising your other, it's like the flip is like, instead of them being stronger and building up your plants, like those are actually bringing in the infection or the sickness, if you will. And then your plants haven't really been exposed to something like that. So then those take a decline and then it's hard to get it out if you don't know what you're working with. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, guys. This is what happens when you get high by yourself, you know? Start going on. I just think that's why I was going to put this little calendar up is I want to show you guys my exact IPM. It's like, I was thinking about this. This used to be my whole secret sauce and like my whole job. And now it's just like, well, let me show you what I'm working with and see what your guys' honest opinions are. Because the reason I grow with Rockwool is because it is sterile and I just want like a good solid start, right? But there's a lot of things, like we said, that like depending on your space or depending on like your obstacles is like, even some people have been coming to me lately and being like, Jay, have you ever used Bacillus to like combat Fusarium and all these things? And it's like, of course. And like, of course, that's how my journey started. Like, you know, I didn't start as a sterile grower and I didn't start bleaching my plants. You know, I like would probably look at somebody and be like, ugh, you know, at one point in time. But it's like when you start like really learning just a little bit, furthering your education in like these little things, is you're like, oh no shit, like this really works for this, and this is really like actually really healthy for the plant, which is better for me. If you have a sick plant that you're smoking, that's not good. Like Fusarium's not good for you to consume, you know? And I don't know, it's like, yeah, you guys just got me going. But I think that if you sterilize and then inoculate and then use like something that's either combating what you're having or preventative, is like, it's such a good, you'll just see your plants just like take off. But let's see. I like to hear that those guys are doing that though, because I don't know. is I don't think that there's enough balance between the two. You said it, Rusty. Nobody's, the paycheck thing. I need to go. White flies hate it. Age old for the win. Oh my gosh. You and Dark Horse, yes. Yellow Purple Bee, like, Dark Horse is like all about the age old. And honestly, like, I can't bash on that at all. I used it so long ago. Me and my brother used to do a little project together, and he loved their line as well. And I mean, I can't say Dark Horse has always had fireweed, and like that flavor, incredible. I use wettable sulfur in a mild solution as an IPM. Shadow Mech, yes, that's my favorite. If people really knew how much, well, I'm sure some of you guys really do, is your plants just love sulfur so much. It's not just like the kill the russets and stuff side and kill a lot of other target insects, but it's like your actual, I don't know, the plant actually eats it, you know? I like it. And it does really actually enhance your terpenes. It's weird, but I love Yellow Purple Bee that you're growing with that. And I love Shadow Mech that you're using the wettable sulfur and talking about it. White flies hate it. Fucking white flies though, like seriously, I hate white flies. Like white flies are actually one of the harder things that I've gotten rid of. Like even compared to like root aphids, this is funny, but they seem to go hand in hand. But they will actually, like my houseplants, I got white flies one time and then I got them in my grow, and it took me seriously, like, you guys want to talk about Avid and Forbid and some shit? Like, I used everything on these bitches, and they just would never. They're like the Hulk insect. I don't know. I am not a fan. Got some root issues on seedlings. Don't know what it is, but if I dig up a little soil around it, its brown stem is so weak it falls over. It's slowly growing still, but if I bury the brown, trying peroxide. Yeah, the peroxide will actually work really well. I think that the H2O2, I mean, that is like your peroxide, but I don't know if you're using like actual like from the grocery store hydrogen peroxide that's like really low. But it doesn't matter. But I would, with the seeds, it's okay if you keep it as a really low diluted mix. I'd probably recommend that. But I would still bump it up just like a little bit, probably from where you're at. And if you're actually seeing the seeds get, like if you're seeing it where they are just, it's just too much moisture going on, it seems like, I would try this. Okay, I would personally try two things. Is you could do the paper towel instead of like, I'm not sure like your exact tech, but I feel like this is a good simple way. Is if you take the paper towel and you use like actually your hydrogen peroxide in your nutrient water, and I would use just like a veg or like a cloning feed, like just low ppm, low EC, whatever you're into. It's not, I wouldn't go above 1. You know, I don't think it's like you're going to kill it if you do, but try to stay below 1. So an EC. So if you take that and you do your little hydrogen peroxide, I would take the paper towel, squeeze it, like soak it in your little nutrient solution, squeeze it out, wring it out, and then I would lay it flat and put your seeds actually in it and put it in a Ziploc bag. I know a lot of people do this, but I wouldn't even seal your Ziploc bag. I don't think you have to. You can if you want to, but probably within 2 or 3 days, if you start seeing the little seedlings sprouting, is then you could take it. And if you're having a weird time with like the actual medium, right, is I would either switch to like, I don't like doing the slabs of rock wool personally for cutting clones at all. And I really don't like them for much things except for seeds. But the slabs that don't have the wrapping around them, like the 1/2-inch cubes, those are really nice for this. Is like, if you're just having any troubles, is like, you can take it and either not soak it. And I know people are going to be like, what? Is like, you could just soak the rock wool cube or the slab in the same nutrients solution that we're talking about with a hydrogen peroxide. Or you could do the paper towel and then use the sprouting and set it into the rock wool slab piece. But I would literally take like a thumbtack is probably like the best thing I could think of right now, is like a thumbtack. And instead of using the hole on the rock wool, or you can, but there's like a way it'd probably be easier to show you on the show, is you could take that little thumbtack and make a little side, like a little tiny hole yourself on this side and of the Rockwool cube. And I would just slide that bad boy in there really softly and take a little piece of the Rockwool from the bottom and leave it fluffy, airy on top, and just barely cover that hole. If you're having any troubles like that, is I think it produces like a little bit like more sturdy of a stock. Like if you're having that like dampening off or like that weakening of it is, yeah, I would try this. And then if you're not successful with that, let me know. We'll do something else. Oh, Fusarium. Yeah. So it is hard. It is freaking annoying and hard. But the thing that I want to be delicate when I say this, because I've just had to run so many rooms that have Fusarium or HLVD and stuff, and there was just no way around it. Okay, so this is weird, but if you have a plant that has it in it young, right? It's not gonna go away. So let's just like get that out of the way. It's not gonna go away. But if you can get it to literally stay totally dormant, like we're saying, but even through flowers. So how you achieve this is you keep them happy the whole time. It's just really hard to do that, right? But the truth is if you're seeing these little characteristics, is like maybe run it just to get the experience. I know it sounds ridiculous, but because it's become such a problem in strains and like across the board, how we're saying seeds, clones, all this shit, is now I would just keep an eye out for it, period. So I would probably run it if you can get them to just push through right now. Is like I would try to get it to run all the way through to see if it indefinitely is a thing, or if you don't want to chance it ever being in your building or like your space. I totally get that too. I think the chances of you probably having it before are likely, just because I think everybody, like, I don't know how to say this like without hurting anybody's feelings, but I think everybody's been exposed to it or like had it in your garden. Like I just think it's like the severity level of like the symptoms and like how significantly like, I don't know, like ill the plant really is. But if you have these seeds showing it, like, I think that you could get them to like grow enough out of it to like run and you not be like sick or like hurt from the cannabis or anything like that. But you could keep it at bay. But I also think if you're trying to avoid all that and you just could go get another pack of seeds, like, yeah, I would just go get another pack of seeds too. But I also just think that your chances are really high of having this in another pack of seeds. That's why I say this. Sorry. I just think it's worth it for you to try this. I'll try to actually show you what I mean with like the Rockwool slabs, because I know that's like really hard probably to imagine. But the only reason I say a thumbtack in the Rockwool is because when you're popping seeds, or even with like clones, plugging clones, is like there's two things that are like it's so easily to bruise like the stalk of a stem on a clone, right? Like that'll fuck it all up when you like press too hard into the Rockwool and like whatever. And so it would make it like rot essentially the same way as what you're mentioning with the seed. But I think that if you eliminate the medium, like don't squeeze out the Rockwool or anything like that, but if you really don't saturate it, say longer than 2 minutes, it's like until there's no bubbles on top of the water, right? There's just water completely in it, nothing too crazy. Is I would lay it flat on the tray and let it drain out for a second. I wouldn't hold the humidity in like my clone dome. Is I would let the Rockwool actually drain out, like I said, for a couple minutes. But then if you use that thumbtack, it keeps it just where it's small and tight enough of a hole that you're not giving it any wiggle room. So like a lot of these things like the Fusarium come from that root ball detaching at some point in time. So this is like weird because there is a lot of other factors that go into this. But to simplify a lot of shit, is that base of the original planting, that original transplant, that original everything is the make or break of your shit forever. So if you can keep the seed where instead of it being able to wiggle around, and I know this sounds weird, you probably don't see it or like think about this like this, but you can avoid a lot from it just having like a perfect little cozy spot where nothing can mess with it. I swear it's like a safety security thing for the shit itself. And I think if you let it stay dry, sorry, that was an important part to this, is I wouldn't water that rock wool cube or mess with it after this for 7 days, like at all. I would close the dome, like my humidity controllers on top, and I would close it all the way. And I just wouldn't water it. I wouldn't open it. I would maybe tap it off, like if it got really humid, without taking it off. You can take it off if you think they're getting like squirrely already. Or like start really like opening up your air vents. But if you could, in theory, for 7 days, not water them, not open the dome, I think that you would start to see them sprout a little bit more stable and strong. And then you could like at least be able to choose the ones that you wanted after that. I don't know. I think. Looking for keeper cuts in regs. Waiting to take a flower clone is best. You get time for it to root, then re-veg, and you might get to smoke the mom and cool it before worrying about normal clones. Gosh, Rusty, you're absolutely right about that as well. I feel like you gotta see the clone list. Maybe I'll just put the clone list on the show next week. I did just get a whole bunch of new shit though. I am stoked about it. It's just gonna be so small for a while. I won't have it up for sale, but I also got back 2 that are sick, but I was thinking about just adding them into like our other sick mess because these actually look different. That's why this is kind of cool, is that you could see that all these plants just still look different with all this shit. So Ghost OG, I like love that fucking strain. I needed it. I like didn't care. I went through this mission to get the Ghost OG recently, and the person I got it from, it's just honestly, it's just an old strain that's sick. And so I was like, okay. And it just, same thing. But her new growth is like finally starting to like fan out of it. But like this is going to take, once again, a couple rounds of clones and bleach. And I don't know. I just think that working with your garden, like on that resilience thing, like I don't know if this is like right or wrong, but this is the truth. It's like there is nothing more satisfying and rewarding than like saving a plant. Excuse me. I've had the worst throat all day long today. I really apologize. But I feel like it is so satisfying. And like when something is all dudded out and like HLVD City or like has root aphids or like, I don't know, it's like the truth is like I will take anything that I really want from anybody, no matter how sick it is. Some of the plants I get like have everything, things you can't even imagine all at the same time. And it's just like more challenging to me sometimes to be like, all right, what is going on? But I think I just learn best like that. I think I really do have to be like hands-on and like burn shit, like treat it too hard, go too soft, like all kinds of things. And I think like now it's been like 14 years commercially, and that's why I think they're different. It's like the home grow thing is I definitely grew before I worked in the industry, not in the industry. But I started in the industry in 2009, and I feel like it was a completely different world. And like you see after like now it's like seriously like 100 and whatever grows. Like I think it's closer to 200 grows that I've ran and worked at now, and they've all done shit that like is so different, or like you have accidents, or I fuck up shit, or they fuck up shit, or just like stuff that's happened over that amount of time and places. Though is I feel like I'm so grateful now because some of these things I just want to share with people, because I'm like, I would have never like seen this. I would have never seen this unless this person was like doing this, or like unless I fucked up this, or so yeah. So when I say like measurements or like these actual treatments or how to do this, it's because I've literally tested this system like at parts per billion in testing to see like residuals, and like tested pesticides to see what was in these pesticides, and like, and now have a lot of, experience backing it up. Where it really, I'm just saying that I think we need to like fix it together. I feel like if we fix it together, or if you fix it yourself, it like actually gets fixed, versus like how everybody's like, we got to get tissue culture to fix this, or we have to get this scientist to fix this, or we have to get this lab to test us positive for this. I love all those things. And I think that if there's a time and a place and your budget and priorities and a professional or not professional, but just like I don't know, like a priority. It's like I think that you should do those things, but I also think that that's not for every like grower. That's not for every cultivator. But like you deserve to have the knowledge of all the things that we well, we didn't talk about all of it, and because then I think it actually fixes the problem. That was where I was going with this. Sorry, guys. It's like versus if we just don't. I don't know if we just rely on like all these other professionals and like I think that's great, but I just think that that's not helping. They're not the ones working like hands in the garden every day. I'm saying like cutting these plants and working with these plants and smoke Ghost OG and seeing the difference of a healthy Ghost OG compared to a shit Ghost OG. Or like, like when you see kosher or like Bruce Banner not taste right or like these things that all these people point out and they're like, no, I want this fucking flavor back. No, I want my weed looks like shit all of a sudden. Like, what's going on? I feel like, I think that those are the things that keep us all like thriving and keep weed not cheap. Like, like we're just like in this weird time right now where like Colorado, I think everybody is, but like, where weed is like shit. But I think it's like, it's everything that we're talking about. It's like everybody got hit with HLVD and Fusarium at different phases and different points. And I remember even in my career trying to tell people or give them a heads up and them being just so adamant that you were wrong. Like, and I don't even mean this disrespectfully, but I mean like respectfully, them being like, no, this is a nitrogen deficiency, or no, this is what thrips do, or no, this is, and it's weird, but I think that like once you see these things so distinctive and like fix them or just learn how to like throw certain things away, you're like, all right, I don't want to fuck with this. I think we could fix the fucking masses of quality. I think because it took years to get people to share information and talk about how like things get sick, period, is like, I think that that's why we're in this bind. But I think that if we just are like, damn, how can we fix this without being like a little douche? Honestly, I gotta address this too. It's not even towards anything I'm doing, but I feel like I keep seeing these people like be like, dude, do you even test your seeds though? Or do you? And it's funny because I have all these lab results and I could like show all this shit, and Dark Horse has all these lab results that we could show all this shit. And it's like, it's weird though, because it's like, it takes away like for reals. Like, I'm not saying if you have medical needs or if there's like true genuine interest in shit, like it's awesome to know numbers of shit and break down every technical detail of something, but it's like, and to be like, this is what good is, but the truth is I'm like, dude, what the fuck is all this? Like, what is all this? Like asking for certifications from fucking breeders and like, do you know this person? And it's like, what in the fuck are you guys talking about? It's like, I don't know, like this used to be like, you pick where you buy this shit from because you know that they're part of something, or you trust these things, or you support this person, or I don't know, none of this like fucking weird. Do you have this testing of we all thought it'd be cool if we had this certification of like, check us out, ours is healthier than yours if we get this stamp, but then honestly the more I think about that shit, I'm like, it's cool but it's douchey. Like, it goes both ways. It's like the information should just be there. It should be like an ingredients list, right? Like legally. Like, this is stupid to say, but it is the truth. It should be like a Q&R code. It's something really simple, something really easy where like, yeah, you can go read about what the fuck is in your shit. But it's like, to me, you really should just be like, man, what does this taste like? Like, does this taste good? Does this make me feel good? Like, I'm about to go on a hike right now. Like, what the hell should I smoke? Anyways, I'm wrapping this up, guys. Oh, certain cultivars re-veg better than others. Shout out, Mike, you are absolutely right on that too. Jason was telling me that Bruce number 5, I think it was the 5, it could be the 3, but I really think it was the 5, that he was like, it does not like it. AC Infinity is replacing all Gen 1 oscillating fans with the new Gen 2 model. Free, no shipping. Spread the word. I got 7 replacements. Damn. Fucking going on there and buying a tent. Shit. You guys. Dog pounds. Hanging up the GML light. I won finally. Stated in the closet. Then added tents, and now I got the whole room covered. Oh, dog pounds. That's so exciting. That really freaking is. You gotta tell us what you're doing in your tent, what strains you're gonna run. I feel like that's fucking awesome. Uh, but nothing genetically should change. Damn, are they really replacing them? They sent me free Gen 2 like 2 months ago, but I didn't know they were swapping them out. That is really cool. Bend 90 degrees, then twist, or they will stand back up. Big Farm, you're so good at like speaking. Like I just want you to be my like sum it upper. Like if maybe I could do a show with you before and you could like make me condense all of my thoughts, put them in like normal human speaking form because this is what I'm talking about. Oh, and note every square. Alana Buds. See, really good. World, I've grown over 30 years, so I've done it in every way. But after super cropping and first, I've never went back. See, that's so cool. And when you guys talk about all the time that you have, that's what I'm talking about. It's like it's not trying to discount anything or like overpraise or something, but it's like it's just this like hands-on experience that like I feel like sometimes people try to take away, like consumers, fucking scientists. Like I love all that stuff, like I said, so much, and I've like made my whole world around it for a long time. But I hear some people just say the same shit in those fields, and it's because they just don't have the hands-on experience with growing, and it does just change things. I don't know what it is. It's just like, no, dude, you don't know. She almost blew her. Thank you, Rusty. I was trying to give an example. Like, I could see the trellis coming off of my blunt. Oh. Yeah, see, okay. This is a great shame. I love multiple layers of trellis right up until harvest. CJ5, FO 20. That's what I'm talking about. I feel once you do like the multiple layers and just work your plants in like that, and it makes your life so easy and it makes your garden look so good and just your plant's so happy. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like one of those things that you're like, yeah, I did it. I beat the girls to the week. I just had a Methalon 1011. That's why I always pop at least 2 of the same strain. Not this time though. Whoops. I heard no feed during. Yep. See, I went back. I just had to make sure that I didn't miss any of the like good juice. Oh, see, Jesus Christo. I made some Mac 1 seeds. I gotta see. I love that. Put your plants in the sun to heal. Very true. Just make sure you don't fry them though. That's a crafty. You know, sometimes I've fried some shit like that. You just gotta put like another bigger plant in front of it. I want to try Brandon's 2-bit line. I use the same Fulvic and it's a game changer for uptake. That is amazing. Put the plants in the sun to heal like the porn industry. You'd have to test every week. Best show, no plant. Oh goodness. Okay. Yep. Big Farm. This is probably, I'm gonna do the last 2 and then we'll wrap it up. I tried Microbe Life, but always had few nads. Use a pack from Hydro Store my buddy recommended, and they have gone since. I split it 4 ways, but it was 5,000 square foot and 100 square foot, or 100 square feet. Sorry. Yes. I feel like, oh, I see, because you put nematode. See, that's fucking awesome. I think that if you don't want to spray after week 3, or you don't want to spray in flower period, is the nematodes definitely annihilate the aphids. And a lot of things like you're talking about. I mean, a lot of insects. But nematodes are expensive. I guess maybe not for like a space. That's still a pretty big space though. I feel how often, but that's a brilliant recommendation. The microbe lift seems to be a good part of the IPM, but it's not everything. Bavaria is great. Yeah, is it the Bavaria Bassiana? I wish there was like a rapper, like a girl rapper for some reason that I was like named that. That's what I envision. I think that's where like the Bavaria Bassiana and the like Bacillus is like, there's so many different strains of Bacillus, obviously, but I think that when you look at these these products is like, that's how I originally started combating the things, Fusarium and botrytis. And I feel like it's weird, but that approach, like I've learned is like a really good approach in certain, it's the same thing in certain like specific parameters. Like if you're growing like with a recirculating system, no. If you're like, if you're growing like with rock wool period, like, I don't know, like you could definitely use that, but then there's like things that would thrive with, it's just, you start to get into this weird, you have to be so balanced and so particular versus if you're doing sterile and combating it. I think they both work, but I think that one will speed things up versus the other takes a little bit longer. I think that's only like in these different scales though too. I don't know if I've done them both at my house, but I feel like I don't know if you'd actually like care either way. Either way, if at your house, honestly, I don't think it would be a significant enough difference. Well, everybody, I freaking love you, okay? I try to tell you how much I love you, but I don't think you guys freaking know. And so I want you, anytime that you're doubting yourself this week or you're feeling fantastic about yourself, I want you to know I'm thinking about how awesome you are too and how much I can't wait to see you. I'm going to probably try to sneak in this week and do another show that's a little bit more graceful and has some of the shit that I've talked about for a while. There's no guarantees. I'm just going to try to do it before Sunday because I've been really pumped on it. And I think that the things that we talked about tonight, I could organize a little bit better. And I think that if you guys have questions, like I said, put them in the chat. I'll really address it. I might even have Jason help me to like keep me in line. But yeah, thank you, Rusty Nails, so freaking much. And Dog Pounds and Big Farm and Gerhardt and Michelle. And hold on, Shadow Meg. So awesome. Robert, Jesus. Okay, you guys know that we're going to see each other soon. Okay, peace and love. Thank you so much for listening tonight.